When I was a child, I dreamed. Jimothy?
Dreamed.
Can I play Jim?
I dreamed.
I dreamed almost every night.
Welcome in to season 3, episode 1, Unstable Discourse.
My God.
Wow.
We're back. It's the third time we've done this whole we're back thing. Somebody want to comment on how it's been a long time since we've done this?
Technically, it's the second time we've been back.
Right.
Because the first time we couldn't have been back.
Couldn't have been back.
Well,
Right.
correct. But
Yeah.
we've also said we're back every time we do a bonus episode, and like we just announced we're back.
It's been a lot
Sure,
of times.
yeah. That's like somebody saying it's the first annual. Calm down.
Right.
You don't know that yet.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
I'm guilty of doing that too.
Yeah, I know.
Oh, it's the first ever inaugural Birdie Bowl. We'll see if it happens again next
Right.
year.
Yeah, exactly.
For the record, I'm pretty sure it's happening next year, guys.
Nice.
Yeah, welcome in, guys. It's very cool to be back, and we're throwing it back old school. It's just the crew. It's the OGs. We got Ryan Fancher of Unstable Disc Golf.
Yes, sir.
Here. Sean Callahan of Delwood Disc Golf.
Hey.
Jason Callahan.
Hello, everybody.
How do you want me to intro you? I feel like I've done.
I'm still of. I mean, I'm
do you
still
want
a bag of tricks. Yeah.
and Delwood?
I'm technically, yeah. I'm
Okay.
still technically of Delwood. Sure.
I like it. I just wanted to make sure I'm
Yeah.
vibing.
Guilty by association.
Bagwood.
Yeah.
Begwood.
Bagwood.
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 That'll work. Yeah.
Dell of Tricks.
I'm Alex Seminary of Disc Golf Chicago, and we are also joined by Sheila Callahan is in the room with us. Hopefully the mics picked that up. And we have Lauren Lakeberg, LL, the disc golf photographer, with us. We are at the boardroom right across from 933 upstairs at Embers. I think this is our favorite place to record, right?
I like to be here. This feels right to me.
It feels right.
The vibe is good.
Yeah.
Cozy room.
Yep.
Cozy space.
I like getting drinks before we start, but don't get me wrong. When we do this at the barn, you guys usually host very well as well. There's always
Aw.
something
That's true.
nice.
We'll have a couple there.
That's
I
like
have
a
feeling.
I feel like that's a fall thing, or like a late summer or a fall.
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's nice.
Vibe with that.
As long as the fridge is working.
Of course.
Yes.
I'm sure we'll be recording at other places this season. We're going to do some episodes. I know we have a live episode planned at some point this season. We'll let you know where that's going to be when we know. I'm sure we'll figure out some other field trips.
Yeah.
At least one. God, I hope so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's one of my favorite things we did last season. The sort of ethos of this episode, we're going to be talking about all the things that have been happening in the sort of off season from last time, from the end of season 2 to today. There's been so many projects going on recently with all of us individually. So we're going to recap some of that stuff. We're also going to talk about what you can expect from this season. It's a little departure from our standard format, but that's a good thing. We're starting out fresh this season.
Mm-hmm.
And if they don't like it,
You know what Ryan says? Wait, speaking of the F word, I asked you about this the other night.
Yeah.
Have you figured out how you're going to edit the F word this season?
my biggest hang up with this whole third season has been what in the am I going to bleep things out with? Because it's hard to beat.
The clown horn was hard to beat.
The clown horn was hard to beat, but the
you managed.
Michaels,
Yeah, the Michaels.
the
good.
Michaels were like, they were so perfect. And so since our last episode, I have really been struggling with it. And the anxiety has risen exponentially in the last week or so because I knew we were going to do this. And then this last Thursday, we were going to record. The weather turned on us. We weren't able to safely
Right.
get here. It didn't make sense to do. So, but the moment we were all like, nah, let's
You
not
had a
do it.
sigh
I
of
was like,
relief.
oh, thank God. Because I really couldn't think. And not even that I had to do it now because I'm going to edit it later.
Right.
I was talking
I would
with,
like it if you just edited out your little orgasm noise that you just did. And
No,
used
I'm
that
going to.
all season.
No, exponential.
Oh, thank God.
Yeah.
Of all the things that you were concerned about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was talking with Sean and Sheila at Hellwood on Friday. I think it was Sheila that gave me the inspiration and all of a sudden it clicked. And so
Sheila's got a pretty good idea.
instantly that relief fell over me. So I'm good.
Big
I
surprise.
can't wait to see what if you do that and how's that going to sound if
Yeah.
that's the way you go.
You want to hear how it sounds?
No, man.
There you
No,
go.
man.
I know that the reason for cutting out the F word was never because we wanted to be squeaky clean. It's more because it's funnier to replace it with something else.
It's way funnier to me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I missed the clown horn.
When you do it, I'll do the clown horn. Go ahead.
Is that what you meant?
No.
No, you were supposed to say.
Well, you got to
so
put
he
a,
could put the clown.
well, you
horn
got to
there.
put a
No,
fuck
man.
over his clown horn now. That's
Right.
how that works.
Right.
It's
right,
opposite
okay.
day.
Yeah.
You'll figure it out. You always figure it out.
Okay.
So let's
Did that just happen?
Yeah, I think so.
It did? Okay, all right, good.
You guys want to just start talking about things we're fired up about?
What is this called? I'm sorry. What is this segment called?
This segment, yeah. Well, let's get into this segment. It's called Fired Up.
It's timid coming out of the gates. It's fine.
Yeah, we can build every episode to
Yeah,
get
yeah, yeah,
more
yeah.
intense.
It'll get a little deeper next time.
Yeah.
Ryan, you never like to go first.
I never do. I have a tentative fired up.
Okay.
I have a few that are culminating into my fired upness. Fired upness.
Lay it on us.
Baseball season, although they have pushed it off another week. Pitchers and catchers have reported.
Hello again, everybody. Harry Doyle here, welcoming all you friends of the feather to another season of Indians baseball.
I'm stoked for that.
Are you going to make a
No,
pitchers and
that's
catchers
too
joke?
easy.
Yeah, pitchers and catchers. Yeah.
Low-hanging
You
fruit.
thought it, though.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it was
definitely
there,
brought
but
it.
low-hanging
Yeah,
fruit, man.
yeah,
Okay.
Yeah.
And then my wife and I are in the process of looking for a new home, which actually sucks a giant dick right now because there are no homes.
That was not the low-hanging fruit.
Boom.
Yeah.
There are no homes available to look at. So Sean and Sheila actually went and helped me look at a home that initially kind of looked cool online and then turned out it was probably a meth den of sorts.
Probably.
Had like weird padlocks on the bedrooms and extra living rooms, and every room had a weird step into it, and there were cracks in the walls. There was blood on one of the walls.
Rooms
but
that used to be garages that had like weird catwalk.
weird cat. But
Are you describing a house you saw or Hellwood?
yes, exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Where
But,
was it? What
and it sounds awful, and you wouldn't want to live there. But it had a really big 4-car garage, and so
Get a couple
But
more.
no,
pros and cons.
couldn't do it.
Get a couple
Couldn't
more
do
GTIs.
Yeah. So that's been really tough. But overall, I'm excited to find that perfect house. So that's all. That's all I got. Yeah.
Keep it.
What was the first part? You said there was two things. The house was the second thing. What was the first one?
Baseball.
Baseball. So that has been part of your fired up on each season, I think.
It probably because it times perfectly with the start of our season. Yeah.
I really hope that gets figured out soon because there's a special guest that we are very potentially going to have on, as long as the baseball season works out the right way.
Sure.
Yeah, that's all
Even
I'm
if it
saying
doesn't
for now.
work out, maybe that's easier for us to get said.
It's just a matter
player.
of that person being in our area. Sean,
Yes, sir.
what you fired up about?
Oh, I feel like every season I say that I am excited for the season to start. This is no different. We are way ahead of planning on Disc Golf Scene. That's a ton of fun.
Yeah, you guys really.
DiscGolfScene.com. Come on, Pete. So knowing that it was going to be more than likely another crazy season, I was like, well, we're doing this whole tour series thing. Let's get them all out on Disc Golf Scene. And really cool new function on Disc Golf Scene is that there's a series tab where you can have all of those events that are part of that series where it's tracking all of the points for you all year long.
Dude, that's awesome.
Super cool.
Did not know
So
that.
stoked to have that all out there for people to be planning the season. Even though we've done really good things the last couple of years, planning was not part of that. And it was kind of like, I'm building stuff on discgolfscene.com 2 weeks before the event. Now the whole season's laid out. So stoked
It's a
on
great
that.
feeling to
Stoked.
have that off your plate.
Yeah.
And I also like that you guys leveled up with what you're doing to promote the events. The video stuff you're doing with Doc, all the logos are like, it is coming. It looks and feels like a series now, which I think it probably always did to you guys, but now from the outside looking in, it really has that feel of a series.
Well, with the logo and the names and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Now it does feel like it should have felt all along.
We got our poop in a group.
As they like to say.
No doubt.
Yeah.
Yeah, all that stuff looks really great. I've been loving seeing that. I bet Doc is having a great time doing all the video stuff
Oh,
with it
he
as well.
is like,
In his
I have a
element.
feeling this year he's just going to be behind the camera the whole time. And I want to make that happen.
Good.
Because that's where he wants to be and where he's at his most creative. So.
There doesn't need to be 3 or 4 people in the tent all the time.
Right.
Speaking
What
of
we
him
do
being
best.
behind the camera, he came up to me the other night at Hellwood, and I got so nervous for him to put the camera on my face. And I was like, I got to say something cool to make sure it makes it in the promo video. And I couldn't think of anything. And I'm sure it's going to get cut. And the light was like super bright in my face. And I was like, I'm squinting and totally blew an opportunity to be in one of Doc's cool videos. But we'll see. Maybe he liked it.
Oh, I'm sure.
Oh,
see.
it'll make a video.
Yeah. Maybe just the blooper reel.
The blooper reel.
Oh,
video.
I would actually prefer that. That'd
yeah.
be great.
Yeah.
Jason,
Yes, sir.
please tell us something you're fired up about.
Yeah. So I'm going to preface this by saying I don't consider myself a gamer. That isn't an adjective I would use for myself. But I own every Sony system except for the PS5 and every Nintendo system except for the Switch.
And you said
And you're
that
not a gamer.
Not a,
I don't game a lot, but I have them for the rare opportunity where I have time to use them.
What about your Twitch channel?
Well, that's separate.
Okay.
Anyway, I have been going through. I'm very particular on everything. I keep all the boxes, all the booklets. I keep everything, and I'm finally to a point where I'm like, I'm just kind of tired of looking at stuff. I want less stuff in my life, so I'm going through and trying to get rid of stuff.
That's a good feeling.
It is a great feeling. It's like weight loss.
Yeah, you literally feel lighter.
Yes, yeah. So I have been pricing out some of the stuff that I have, and I have some pretty rare stuff that I'm super excited to like maybe take to a pawn shop or put online and say, yo, like I know what I've got, and this thing is worth $500, $600, whatever, $1,200. Some of the stuff it's insane. Yeah. The value of any cartridge based system post SNES, there's like a lull in gaming where it was still cartridge based and nobody played, because that's when Sony took over.
The discs, right.
And it all switched to discs, but Nintendo still had a couple of systems where they were pumping out cartridges. Sure. And because of that, nobody was buying it. So it's all super rare. Totally. I have a mint condition Conker's Bad Fur Day for the N64 with booklet and box that looks like I just took it off the shelf last week, that I could easily put on for $500 to start and end up in a bidding war. Totally
some listeners getting a boner right now.
Yeah. If people know that game, they're like, holy shit, that's impossible. But I do. Like super rare, like Castlevania games for the Game Boy Advance stuff where they super limited release, but I was able to scoop one up, and now the thing's going for $275.
The Game Boy Advance, we had a Game Boy, but the Game Boy Advance, the 3DS, all those, like I found boobs at that point. Like that was like that was the turning point for me. Like Game Boy, and then I was like, oh my god, there's girls. And then dropped off the face of the planet. I've never even held a Nintendo 3DS. I don't know what it looks like. I don't know how to play it. I don't know any of those until
once you like play with your first nipple, you were like, I don't need joysticks anymore.
Right. Yeah.
Same. Yeah. So like the fact that you have all of that stuff is like, that's crazy to me.
Yeah. It's pretty awesome researching some of these and finding out the value of something that I paid $29.99 for 25 years ago is now worth $300.
Well, my question is, would you actually sell and get rid of it? Or at the last minute, are you going to say, shit,
there was that one time I have this memory attached to this thing.
I do still have some serious nostalgia associated with this stuff. So I'm a little on the fence. For right now, I'm going through all the boxes that I have in storage and kind of putting it all together and pricing it and writing that price on the box, just so I have like this mental note of
right on the box in permanent marker, and then scratching all the corners.
Right.
Okay, good.
No, the box I'm putting it all.
Yes,
in.
I know.
But yeah, I've had a lot of fun just kind of like finding out this stuff was worth holding on to. Yeah.
I had a little experience with this recently as well. I wanted to buy my nephew a Game Boy. He started to get into Pokemon. I was like, oh, he'll love an actual Game Boy with the Pokemon game, and I would love to like talk to him while he like plays this
80s green screen Game Boy.
No, like Game Boy Color.
Oh, okay.
I probably could have gotten one of those, but that's just so hard to look at now.
Are you familiar with like Raspberry Pi and all that kind of stuff where people are like modding these things in order to make them work? Yeah. Those are pretty cool.
So it ended up being really hard to find a regular Game Boy. Like I had to do a lot of searching, and I couldn't find Pokemon at all. Like, and the ones I could find were hundreds of dollars.
Super rare. Yeah. So still highly collectible.
I bought the Game Boy, and then I realized my nephew will never give a shit about it because he's got a cell phone. So why would he care about a Game Boy? And so now I have a Game Boy Color and no Pokemon. And I don't know if I'm ever, if I can find it, I'll play it again. But I'm not going to spend a couple.
That's the thing that's tough. So I have tons of nostalgia associated with this stuff, like Super Metroid for the SNES, one of the greatest games ever in my life.
Yeah.
I can't see a situation where I'm going to hook up my SNES and put the cartridge in and sit there and play it because I have a emulator on my phone that I paid 99 cents for, and I went on the Pirate Bay and downloaded zipped files of every single game. SNES game ever made.
Yeah.
so I can just Bluetooth my PS4 controller to my phone.
That's
and
awesome.
prop my phone up and then just play it right there. So it's like,
and when you actually do that,
I would rather go to somebody that is going to have like look at it and go, oh my God, I own a physical copy of Super Metroid.
Well, what they're going to do is buy it and then do exactly what you did.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
But
Sit on
at
it
that
for another
point,
20 years
doesn't
and sell
matter.
it for
Yeah.
twice as much. Yeah.
Yeah. On the Switch, they have the Nintendo and the Super Nintendo emulators. And I've gone through and they release games once every couple of weeks or whatever, you know, and most of them you don't know. Most of them are crazy Japanese games, but a couple of them, you know, like Super Mario Kart, you're like, oh, obviously I'm going to play this. And the moment you turn it on, you're like,
this sucks.
oh no, this is not
It's
good.
not as good as I remember.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, I've spent 6 hours a day playing that game,
Yeah.
you know, when it came out, and
Yeah,
I
definitely.
can't even look at it now. It sucks to say, but
Right.
yeah, you can't spend the time anymore. But having those, I don't know if I would be able to give them up.
So, there's dudes that have entire rooms of their house dedicated to this collection of things.
Super cool, dude.
Yeah, right. Lots of neck beards.
Drop a cool guitar, like
Yeah, got it.
So I know what I've got, and I'm not gonna like undersell it.
Yeah.
Just to
Just to get rid
someone
of it.
has it. But
Yeah.
if somebody has that expendable income and wants it to put on display,
No, man.
go for it, man.
I would say go the online route before going to a pawn shop.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
I'm sure you'll get more for it, and you'll like dealing directly with the person.
I want to get rid of my Game Boy Advance, for example, and I just want one dude that's willing to give me X amount and just take everything.
Right. Oh yeah, that's ideal.
Yeah. Yeah. So I don't know if that'll happen online, but
Fingers
we'll
crossed.
See. Yeah.
I wonder how much of that is coming from like, so of course there's other people that are like you that that want that physical copy to add to their collection, but is there a whole market out there for people that never had any of it that are trying to recreate this
Sure.
whole system plus all the games from the jump because they never even,
Right.
they were born when PS2 was out. So they need, you know what I
Right.
mean? Like,
They're
is
They're
that where
curious
this
what
value is
gaming
coming
was before
from
them.
with the
Yeah.
whole
Yeah.
nostalgic comeback of the 80s and 90s?
I just don't think
Sure.
if you have any tie into that in the first place that you could even get into those. Because again, I'm playing games that I remember renting at the local video store.
Chippendale Rescue Rangers for the
Like-
NES.
Crazy shit like that we would rent and like call up and hey, can we re-up? Can we and I would have the game for weeks. Like this wrestling game for the Nintendo that was terrible. I can remember the music. It was awful. If I turn that on now, I don't even
You're
think
bored in 2 seconds.
it's just not. So I can't see somebody that has grown up looking at the Switch or at least the Xbox and stuff going back to that and saying, wow, this is awesome.
Wait, you mean I can only go back and forth? Like I can't. It's 2D.
Right.
Maybe it's come full circle though. Like they need it to be that simple 8-bit,
Maybe.
16-bit system.
Actually, that's a good point because my daughter is now 6 and she is just now starting to want to play video games. And everything is like, you look at the Xbox controller,
Yeah.
there are like 17 damn buttons on that thing.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
And I'm like, no, hit the left trigger. No, not the left button, the left trigger.
bumper.
Like,
Yeah.
come on. So the idea of having 2 buttons on one side and the D-pad on the other is kind of appealing to me to give to her to say, you can only jump and kick.
Yeah.
Right.
You get one button. It's called the action button.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
So go have fun. And
Figure
maybe
it out.
that's the way, because that's how we learned. But maybe that's the way to get her into more video games. She's very excited to play, but I feel like now when she plays video games, I'm playing, but I just don't have control of it because I have to sit there. She can't read. So I have to read what's on the screen. And then I have to tell her where to go and what to do, but I'm not doing it. So it's like the most frustrating video game on the planet.
Go.
Yeah,
there.
go
Give me
there.
the controller.
Go over
just the
go
warp
over
whistle
there.
and go to
Can-
level 4 already.
No,
Yeah.
don't hit Y, hit A. Just hit. So if she had
Dad,
maybe
you're ruining this for me.
we tried.
Give me your phone back. This.
Yeah, we downloaded because I have the Xbox Game Pass or whatever. We downloaded Zoo Tycoon. I was like, that sounds awesome. You build your own zoo and take care of animals and
Right.
stuff.
I downloaded that too, and it's so complex. I've never started playing it.
5 minutes in, and you have to go like clean the elephants, and you have to like. I could barely do it.
Really?
And so Nora, in the 5 minutes that I had setting up the game, she was overplaying Legos. She's like, "Nah, I'm good. Like,
Wow.
I can watch elephants on YouTube. I don't need to watch this.
Yeah.
I don't need fake elephants.
Yeah.
I have real ones on my screen.
Yeah, it's terrible. I'm stoked for you.
Yeah.
I still
Yeah,
don't
fun.
see you giving that stuff up, but
I'd rather
this process is fun, but the next one is going to be tough for me.
Yeah, painful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd rather see you have that room you're describing of like all the stuff set up.
Ideally,
That is what I imagine you to have.
I feel like I might be that guy, but it takes so much time and effort that I don't know that I would bother as well. There's days where I am that dude, and then there's days where I'm like, nope, get rid of it. I want it out of my life.
Yeah.
Guess I'm a Gemini.
Well, that explains it. We could have led with that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just ask the stars.
Yeah.
Why didn't you say that?
I should have led with that.
Hey, Alex. Hey,
What's up?
Hey, buddy.
you fired up about something?
Yes, a lot of things. Quickly, I'll go fired up about that Jomez video. That was like surreal to see.
Mm-hmm.
And it felt like that whole thing happened so long ago, but it really wasn't.
No, it wasn't that long.
It also helped to put into context sort of what we're all planning Disc Golf Chicago like initiatives for 2022, and having that video drop right before we start planning all that put a lot of like gas in the tank. Like, oh yeah, that's why this is super important. So it felt very good to see that and see that kind
And
of make its
also,
rounds.
what was her name? Louise
McCurry.
Louise.
She's like a celebrity now.
Yes, that's what I was going to say. All the comments on that YouTube were like, she's the coolest.
Yeah.
Oh,
I want to
really?
be Louise.
Yeah. I didn't
Like
look
the
at the
comments are
comments.
like, I
That's
want to be like Louise when I grow up, or like,
Yeah.
she's the hero that this world
Or like,
needs. And, like,
the world needs to save, Louise
we need to
McCurry.
protect her at all costs.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, the comments were great.
So-
I sent her an email and I was like, hey, I don't know if you've seen the video dropped, but you should look at it and look at the comments. I think you'll enjoy that. And she responded like, oh my, this is so, so cool. And she's really excited about what we're doing. She's still like full steam ahead on this also.
Cool.
Great.
That's really great. And then I'm also, excited about the Birdie Bowl working out was a great success. We'll talk more about that a little bit later. And some of the stuff that we're starting to plan with Disc Golf Chicago is, how do I put this? I think there's a lot of us just kind of putting one foot in front of the other, and just like when you're running and you're just like trying to make sure you don't fall. So you're just keep doing the next thing without really thinking all the way down the line. Starting a nonprofit was like a spur of the moment decision. We were like, okay, we're working with the Paul Macbeth Foundation. We're doing all this stuff. We should be a nonprofit. Go ahead, make it happen. I never really mapped out what are we going to do with that. And so now it's really starting to come to fruition. And I'm really excited about the stuff we're working on now. One of our members, Mike Stahara, he's started a disc golf club at his school where he's a teacher in the city. And he's like, yo, how can you guys help me make this cool for the students? So we're like working with him and aiming towards putting on an event for like the Chicago Teachers Union, where we get lots of teachers in Chicago together and say, who would like to start a disc golf club? How can we help you make that happen? And start to drive like a demand from the student and from like the kids level to say there should be more facilities. We have all these kids that want to play. And even if we can get like a basket in the ground at a high school, or a couple baskets in the ground, like we're trying to attack the idea of getting a course in the ground from lots of different directions, rather than just going to the Forest Preserve and going to the Parks District people and saying, we want this, this should happen. Like we're going to start from, really the ground up from lots of different areas of the city.
Attack on all fronts.
Exactly. And it's like, hey, that it's going to take a lot longer to get there, but I think that big win is going to be built on lots of littler wins. So we're excited about that. And awesome. just this last weekend, Mike is also the coach of a robotics team. So the kids literally build robots like BattleBot style, and they go to these competitions, and their robot competes against other schools' robots. He brought a disc golf basket to that event where there was like a couple hundred kids there, and we sent Devin Hernandez. Shout out to Devin. That's my local route shout out. He went and hung out with the kids all day and like just played disc golf with them, taught them how to do it, got, photos and videos. And he was there like rocking Disc Golf Chicago stuff and trying to like, I specifically sent somebody cool. Like I was like, I could go, but it's not going to inspire any kids. No kid's going to be like, that guy's into disc golf. I got to get into this. So I specifically sent, a younger, cooler member, and it worked out really well. And so we're like, looking at more things that we can do with schools to just like get kids excited about it. And I think that's that's the perfect
great.
lane for us to go down.
I'm hearing a lot of, I need to get disc golf into high schools and schools and things like that, but I never hear any success stories about it. I always hear we're trying to, and that's the end of it. So the fact that that's actually happening is great.
Yeah.
Good focus.
Yeah.
I think it's appropriate for us. I mean, in the midst of that, we are still talking to the Forest Preserve, and we are still planning what to do with the expo this year. Where's it going to happen? There's a lot going on, but again, attacking from all fronts. And it's making you, when you put that video, the Jomez video in front of these people that have an opportunity to be part of the story, like, hey, look at the story that's unfolding now. You can help make an ending for the story by whatever your little 2% can be. Like, let's talk about what we can do together and help bring the story to the ending we all want.
Yeah.
So it feels like the path is more clear in front of us now than it was this time last year.
Cool.
Hell yeah.
Let's keep it moving.
Cool.
Let's keep it moving to the Callahalander rundown. There's a lot coming up.
Boy.
I wish you would have done your fired up in the format of the Dear Diary, by the way. That was one of my favorite things last season.
Oh, Dear Diary. That was fun. Callahalander rundown, baby. We're going to start this off a little different because there are some other things still happening right now. We haven't normally talked about leagues, but we're going to talk about leagues. One specifically, that is the Hellwood Putting League
I've been there.
over at Hell's Gate.
I've been there.
Still kicking. By the time this comes out, we will have 2 more. We will have a Saturday, February 26th, Hellwood Glow Flex from 11 a.m. to 5 p.m. That is that you just show up, pay $20, and you can play as many rounds as you would like. Also,
So dope.
yes, that's going to be a ton of fun. We did that once already last month on the 29th, and it was killer. We had a bunch of people come out. It was a lot easier from the perspective of both people, from us running it and from people coming out, that it was just, it's not as complex. A lot easier. Just come out and putt and have a good time. And then the 9th week of Hellwood Putting League is on March 4th. I don't have it on my phone. It is the Hellwood, the week 9 of Hellwood Putting League is on Friday, March 4th. So keep an eye on that. That is going to be going live on Tuesday, the 22nd of February.
If you have not done it, just
come out.
Just come out and do it, man.
It's a good time. It's disc golf in a haunted house. The staff out there is great. I mean, the food, the drinks,
the hosting is fantastic.
The payouts. We are paying out so much money
Hundreds.
week in, week out. Like the hot putter was hit. I mean, how many times now? 4 or 5. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I was kind of
It's
close.
like the lottery. It's ridiculous. Getting back to that Callahalander rundown, the Dog Bowl 2 presented by none other than J-Town Disc Golf Club. It still has spots. It is still live on discgolfscene.com. It is on Saturday, March 12th at Old Oak Golf Course over in Homer Glen. Parker Road and 143rd. Get out there.
Yeah.
The following day, Sunday, March 13th, is Old Oak Double Spring Warm-Up 3.
Pick your own doubles.
Do you want to talk a little bit more
BYOP.
about these specific events? I think there's more to say about Dog Bowl. If you've never gone to it, like, you should know really what it's about. How does it work? Because it's freaking awesome.
Yep. We are raising a ton of money for the Will County Humane Society. Last year we did $5K in cash donations, and then like another $7,000 worth of dog and cat food and toys and leashes and like all kinds of stuff. They gave us a wish list of everything that they wanted specifically, which was great.
So much so that this year they've already told us that they are bringing more vehicles to take the stuff back because they were stuck last year. They didn't know what to do with it.
2 full vans of bottoms of vans rubbing on the road.
Yeah.
There's like, it's an adoption event as well, so there will be.
They will be there. Yeah.
There will
Twice
be
the amount of
dogs
dogs as last year. They had 2 dogs and a puppy last year. 3 total dogs last year. So great people, great cause. Stoked to do it for them. I know this is a big thing for Leo, the Doc Borowski, to be doing. So this is one of the highlights for him. So it's going to be a great time.
And on top of that, the Temp Disc Golf Course is phenomenal.
Yeah,
the course is great. Super proud of that.
Yeah, it's really great. It's all over the entire golf course that they are generous enough to let us use.
Are golf carts going to be
golf
in the picture?
carts?
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
It's way long enough that if you didn't have golf carts, we probably wouldn't let you play.
Only worried about if it's mucky out, are they going to let you drive golf course?
Probably pass only. Just like regular golf if it was raining. Yeah.
But yeah, if you've never done disc golf with a cart, it's a different thing. Like it hits different.
Yeah.
You got to do it.
And it's not a hokey course. It's a really well thought out, really great disc golf course.
Yeah, Thor and I spent a lot of time out there, many hours walking around in like knee deep snow, figuring out that track. Yeah, so that was a ton of fun, and just the venue too. I mean, Old Oak is really cool. It's got that. We're not old enough to have appreciated Caddyshack properly.
Hey, everybody, we're all gonna get laid.
But this is the closest thing to it.
Yeah.
that I've
Lots
ever experienced.
of old walnut mahogany in that place, and a
like
really great bar.
Downstairs, there's like locker rooms and stuff. And every time I'm there, I'm like, man, if we just had something like this for disc golf, it would just be epic.
Yeah.
When
So
we
we do
when we get
for a
something
weekend.
like that.
Correct.
Right.
Correct. So Dog Bowl 2, come on out. Still live on Disc Golf Scene. Still plenty of spots. Like I said, next day, if you didn't get enough of the Dog Bowl 2, hit up Old Oak Double Spring Warm Up 3 at the same facility. Going to be a blast. Doubles, bring your own partner. Fraction Run Cup 4 went live this past Thursday.
It did.
And boy, did it go live.
Yeah.
Sold out immediately. 30 some odd, almost 40 people on the wait list. Holy cow.
So my fear was we've put out so many events to sign up for
Yes.
because there's just so much to do right off the bat. You're stepping off the bus and school's in session. Right. That's it. Like there's no gap. So I was worried like people are signing up for so many things so early and not even playing them yet. What's going to happen with our tour series stuff? Are people just going to be sick of signing up for stuff and not playing? Yeah. Or what's going to happen? Fraction Run came up and
it was
how many spots are in that?
2 days or 1 day after Ledgestone going live.
Yeah.
For AMS
also
too.
that. Yes, absolutely.
So
yeah.
we had like a very terrible day to go live. What day did Ledgestone go live? Tuesday or Wednesday?
It was earlier that week, but just a couple days. Yeah.
And I was like, oh no. We have 2 events that are live. People have signed up. There's a ton of people signed up for Dog Bowl and Old Oak. And then Ledgestone hit and we were like,
still,
we had that question answered right away was that, people are pumped to get the sanctioned season
what is it,
off.
236 or something?
You filled 230 spots plus.
I was actually opening up
waitlist?
More spots as people were signing up because I always start off kind of soft.
That's what she said.
Then I get a little harder. And I always leave more room for more spots. You know,
Sure.
I always anticipate that. And it was immediate that I was like, there are already people on the wait list right now. I have to open them up because it's
dope.
weird. Like this is also, these people that are coming out for disc golf tournaments are still consumers. So I have to think to keep them happy in a way that like, if I let them sit on a wait list, they're going to change their mind. They're going to dip out and I could be creating those spots. So I just had to do that sooner than later.
Yeah. And you're going to see more events this year. Right. Like you'll probably see a bunch of new events this year that will end up conflicting with your things because it's just
inevitable.
The nature of where we are right now.
Right. So, already this year has got me, it hasn't even started and it's got me thinking about the changes I need to absolutely make for next year to open up more spots, which is going to make these either turn these C tiers into B tiers or turn these C tiers into 3 or 4 day C tiers where everybody can play just because they want to play. So the tier of an event has become all that much more like,
well, let's be honest,
less important. They just want to play a tournament. They don't care what the hell it's called.
Dude,
they're B tiers plus with the label of a C tier anyway.
Right. We go hard on it.
You can look at the Birdie Bowl as an example. That was an event that I'm so surprised people signed up for. And it ended up filling out. Difficult conditions to play in, and so many names I didn't recognize. The demand is going to be there regardless of when it is, what it is. People are just hungry for more to do.
They want competition, and they will get it also with the next event I'm going to bring up,
which is the
Greater Joliet Tour Series Tournament Director Team Challenge.
JGTS-TDTC.
I haven't even put this out onto the internet and promoted it in any way, and people are still coming into the shop and asking me about it.
Dude.
It's on Disc Golf Scene, but I haven't put it up on Facebook or Instagram. Well, Sheila put it up on Instagram.
Is it? Are signups
we
live
didn't
for
post
that?
it yet? Oh,
No,
okay. Well, by the time this comes out,
I'd like
it'll
to
be up
play
on
this
Instagram.
year.
You should.
That is going to be a ton of fun. That is our match play event where we have 4 captains that are picking teams. We're going to have a draft. I don't think we're going to call it a live draft. I think we've decided to not do it as a live video feed, but it is more than likely.
It will be filmed.
All but signed that it will be over at Hell's Gate.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
So we will be going back to Hell's Gate in April to do the draft, which is going to be a ton of fun. They're going to have a stage set up for us.
Nice.
Yeah,
We're
Kyle.
planning on,
Kyle over there has we told him about it, and he's like, "Oh yeah, we're gonna do this, and we're gonna set."
I
the
think
stage.
he already has more ideas than we have.
Totally.
So
He loves you guys.
Yeah.
It's going to be a ton of fun. So really excited for that. Last but not least, I'm going to keep this short to just the spring. We have the second stop on the Greater Joliet Tour Series. That is the Workforce Brewing Open 4. That is going to be switched up this year. Traditionally, the last 3 years has been over at, first year we did over at Plainfield. That was a temp course. And then the last 2
course,
we did over at Homer Heritage Park over in Homer Glen.
Yep.
This year, because of the demand of weekends, we had to switch some gears and utilize the Clay Track Classic, which we have taken off of the Tour Series.
Right.
For the use of that weekend for the Greater Joliet Tour Series Tournament Director Team Challenge.
Michael Scott.
So Workforce Brewing
What is
will be at Trinity Links
For the
disc
cure.
golf course.
For the cure.
And Workforce definitely deserves to have that at Trinity, if anywhere. So
Absolutely.
yeah.
I mean, Doc and Thor have created a great relationship with Brando and Amanda over at Workforce Brewing.
Brando Commando and Amando Commando.
Bramanda.
To have that over, they have happily sponsored Trinity Links, the course, for a few years now. So it's great to bring that event and that name over to Trinity Links. So I'm sure we're going to do a ton of fun stuff.
By the way, congrats to Brandon and Amanda for having twin boys.
Twins. No big deal.
Yeah.
Cutest babies I've seen in a while.
Babies are not cute in general, and these kids are cute.
They were
man.
smiling in every photo I've seen so far.
Yeah, good for them.
Twins,
Brando's
Basil.
The twins.
Oh,
Basil.
your comment made my whole day. What did you say?
Brando's House of Awesomeness is now Brando's Home of Awesomeness.
Yeah.
So good.
That's good.
So good. So
I've
good.
been dropping some gems on Facebook
Yeah.
lately.
Yeah, you have.
I know I have.
Yeah.
That's your spring edition of the
There's a lot.
Callahalander rundown. It's a lot. Way more to come, and I'm sure because we're all masochists, we'll do more shit. The other cool thing
They're all
about the tour series
Doc.
is, as well, right, is that we'll be doing some flex starts coinciding with the layouts from those events on the Thursdays or Fridays before those events.
To practice.
Yeah, so you'll get your practice rounds in, especially over at Trinity, that is still remains at the moment closed to public through COVID stuff. But it's more important that I like giving them the option for that very cheap $5, $10 sanction round with an ace pot. People are really digging that.
Yeah.
It's getting a lot of people to sign up for PDGA memberships, which is huge. And they do that one time. They don't play the event, and then they are sure to be signed up for the next one. So I think we're
Right.
seeing a lot of growth from that, which is awesome.
It's all organic too. It's not forced. It's just
Yeah, we're
this
leaving
is
it up
the
to them.
natural evolution of the way you guys have been running events.
Yeah, just give them options.
Ooh, we can also tack on to the Callahalander rundown, a sort of secret event. The details are not ready to come out quite yet, but you guys know Ryan Aquino, Disc Golf Digest. He's working on something that is, I think, going to be pretty cool. I don't think it's been done before. I don't want to say too much because he's going to be dropping that announcement soon. So just keep your eyes peeled. I would say follow Disc Golf Digest on Instagram, YouTube, whatever. That's all I can say for now. Follow it. Keep your eye out for the announcement. It's something that I haven't seen before, and I think is going to be very cool.
Fair enough.
Indeed.
Yeah.
So get on that. All right, let's take a quick sponsorship break, and we will be right back.
Hey guys, it's Andy O'Day. You know me as AO the Mortgage Pro, your favorite disc golfing mortgage broker. Biggest news to start 2022 is interest rates have gone up. If you are looking to refinance, whether it's to save some money now or maybe pull some equity out of your home to do some debt consolidation or maybe remodel, now is the time to go over those numbers to see what's going to make the most sense for you. If you're looking to purchase, whether now or in the next maybe 18 months, let's develop a game plan so that you can go over the time frames that you need to maybe save some more money for down payment and closing costs, maybe build your credit a little bit, maybe just have no idea how much money you need and what you qualify for if that monthly payment is going to fit in your budget. Let's go over those numbers. Let's develop that game plan so when the time comes, you're going to be ready to go. You guys know how to reach me on all the social media platforms, Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok, AO The Mortgage Pro. And now you can find me on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. We are live now. Episode 0 of Amortize This is live. My partner and I will be talking all things real estate and all things mortgages and how you can leverage those two to really develop and build a financial future for yourself. Again, we're going to have a lot of amazing guests on there, so it should be fun and educational. So please smash that subscribe button and give us a shout. We are live now on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. It's called Amortize This. If you guys mention Unstable Discourse when you call me, you will get a free travel basket after closing so you can keep practice putting in your backyard. Again, AO The Mortgage Pro. You can also find me on aothemortgagepro.com. I look forward to speaking to you guys, and hopefully I'll see you on the course.
Listen to Unstable Discourse on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, Google Podcasts, or right from unstablediscourse.com. Like us on Facebook, follow us on Instagram, or subscribe to our YouTube channel. If you have the time, leave us a rating and review, or just tell a friend. It helps the podcast get to more listeners.
All right. Thank you to our sponsor, AO the Mortgage Pro. Now let's get back to the show. It's time for the Bangers and Mash.
Yeah.
That's right. We're fully committed to Bangers and Mash now. The meat and potatoes are a thing of the past. How do you feel about it, Jason?
It's fantastic. Best thing we've done so far.
Best
I feel like
decision.
you have to say it with a British accent. Jason, go.
Bangers and mash. That was horrible.
Horrible.
Terrible. It was
Alex,
so terrible.
go. Bangers and mash, British accent.
Horrible.
Don't think about it. Just do it.
Bangers and Mash.
Ooh, I like that. It's saucy.
I can't do that now. I can't
You
follow
have
that.
to.
Bang as a mash.
That's decent.
Bangers and mash, mate.
I think
That's
Australian.
Australian.
Yeah.
That's okay.
That's what came out.
It is what it is. All right, so this is going to be very sort of free flow. I think we don't have a necessarily like.
You know what
tight
the problem
agenda
is?
on this.
Is Lauren's filming us.
It's not as tight of an agenda as what we typically have with the Bangers and Mash. We're just going to get caught up on what everybody's been doing and what we're kind of all working on right now. I think Hellwood is kind of the big That's the big elephant in the room. Let's talk about what's been going on with Hellwood. Last time we talked about it was the bonus episode, and we talked about what to expect. Now it's coming toward the end.
Yeah.
Let's talk about what has Hellwood been like.
What it was.
What it is.
What it is, what it was.
What it will be. It's been fantastic. It's sold out every week. Everybody seems to be having such a fantastic time. And half of that always comes from not being able to do anything else or anything else enjoyable outside. Even if you do go and play, it's miserable. So, setting the bar pretty low with just being indoors. But then you go into a haunted house and you set up baskets and just everybody's just in such a great mood.
For anybody that hasn't listened to the bonus episode, let's recap real quick Jason, I know you love to make sure the listener knows exactly what we're talking about.
Actually, you know what?
Yeah.
Jason, tell us what it is.
What is
Jason.
Hellwood?
Yeah, so here's the thing. You guys keep calling it a haunted house. I wouldn't even consider that. That's too umbrella of a term for what is happening over there. It's almost like a haunted experience. It's not just a walk through something. They're telling a story. Each room is unique. There's something to take from every hole that you guys have put in there. It is truly an experience. It's phenomenal.
An 18-hole indoor putting course.
Right.
Yeah.
But you go through the Hell's Gate experience.
The story of what they're trying to tell.
That they're trying to tell you
of
while
the
you're
haunted
playing.
house.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the very first room you go into and what's happening in there?
That's the foyer. So when you're doing the haunted house, you're ushered into this room. Sheila's going to have to hop on the mic and help me a little bit here, but
the story is that there are, twin daughters that are actually Paul Macbeth.
They do look like Paul Macbeth.
I
they look like Paul Macbeth.
did not know that. I thought you guys had photoshopped his face onto those.
No,
two.
they look like Paul Macbeth.
Those are two real women that show up in the Halloween season to play the twins. If you go on their website, you see the whole story. This guy, he lost his twin girls, and then he does a seance to try and communicate with them.
Whoa.
But he ends up using his blood and their hair and brings them back to life, and they haunt everybody. So this is the
It's
premise
so genuinely creepy.
of the whole haunted house. However, the twins look like Paul Macbeth.
They
So
really
it's
do.
perfect for us.
Yeah.
Perfect. So you go in, you basically sign up. You get put on a card just like you would at any other league, and you and a group of 4 or 5 other people go and play this whole 18-hole layout. Every different hole is a different challenge. Some of them have very low ceilings. Some of them have really narrow gaps you have to get through. Some of the targets are moving. There's moving obstacles in front of them. There's random things screaming in your ear right when you're
And there's Mitch DePiro drinking on some of the holes, and you just
There's
Which
that
is
too.
you never know.
arguably the scariest part.
Right, yeah.
And constantly there's all these different mannequins throughout the place that I no fewer than 10 times thought somebody's standing right next to me while I'm trying to
Totally.
putt. It's just a
Yeah.
statue.
Every time we go in there, somebody will point out, man, that one's creepy. And I'll turn around and I had never seen that one before.
Yeah.
How is that possible? And
there
it
are
freaks me
still
out.
some guys that get me every time. That I'm walking
Every
around
single
checking
time.
the course before we start. And I'm like, ooh.
And there's all these
Oh, dog, hey, I saw you, dog.
there's all these secret doors and hallways.
Yeah.
Now that some people have been going, weekly, they're learning all the little secret traps. So other disc golfers are popping their head out too to mess with you.
To know that there's that spot
Yeah,
there.
I'll
they
tell
can
you
jump
what,
out, yeah.
I'm 41 years old. I am what I consider to be a grown man. And at the end of the night, when everybody's gone and Leo says, hey, some of the lights are still on the baskets. Can you run and turn them off? I have to really convince myself to go back there all by myself and run through and turn the lights off and run back. It's spooky.
That's great.
One of the creepiest things to me about Hellwood is not a scary thing. It's like a kismet thing that, of course, we went there not knowing anything about what it was like. I had gone to the haunted house once. It was like 3 years ago, right?
Yeah.
I had forgotten about what all the rooms looked like.
Sure.
When I was there, I was like, oh yeah, I remember this or that.
You just remember being scared.
How perfectly laid out 18 holes fit into this space is the creepiest part about it, because of course it did. Like, what? It was just like, we got done designing it and we were like, how did we just perfectly fit it? We couldn't put another hole in there.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
We
That's
really
what she
couldn't.
said. But yeah. Mm-hmm.
So it's just like, to me, looking back is like, man, just another.
It's like Delwood, where it was just waiting for you to
It was just like
uncover
meant
it.
to be. Like they were just waiting for us to come with this idea.
And Kyle and Audra and them are just so stoked to help
They
us.
love
And
us.
yeah, every time we show up, they're just ready to go and have everything all set.
But
and
even like to the extent of the room where there's a slide and you guys figured to put the basket at the end and just roll a roller down the slide.
Mandatory
Like,
roller.
phenomenal.
Mandatory molar.
Yeah, that was my invention. If anyone wants to host an event there, like for instance, this Tuesday is 2/22/22. There are people
Glenn
getting
Lerner.
yeah, in
Yeah.
row. Yeah, they're
There-
the lawyers for you.
There's there are people getting married there on 2/22/22 at 2/22.
You're going to have
PM.
to say
On a
the
Tuesday.
On a
22,
Tuesday.
22.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they do host other events. So if you're looking to have like a fun wedding or something unique there, they do this. But you have
Bod mitzvahs.
yeah, you can't be a bridezilla, but they host these unique events inside the haunted house.
I don't think you can do that seems a bar mitzvah and a
Do it.
that's like sacrilegious,
it.
right?
Right.
I don't know.
But yeah, there's ample parking and over 100 people are coming out every week, and
I'm sure they could have kosher
flows
hot dogs.
Perfect.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it'd be fine.
Speaking of which, there's good food. I got a burger when I was there, and it was like
Oh,
$5.
let me
Delicious.
talk to you. Let me talk to you about road burgers.
Oh, the road burgers.
The road burger. At the end of the night, when you're done, and then you get that burger to go for the road, it hits.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I wish actually I tried to do that on my way out last time, but the only burger they had left had no cheese on it, so I pulled the ripcord.
Oh, I ordered a cheeseburger.
Did they put
last
cheese on
Friday.
it for you?
No, they were out of cheese.
Yeah.
So instead, they gave me nacho cheese to dip that
Hello, Newman.
in. And let me tell you, I only want that from now on. Dude,
They created a monster.
more cheese than you're ever going to need in each bite.
There's no such thing as more cheese than you're going to need.
Correct. Yeah.
Dip
That's
it
not
in
real.
cheese and then give me cheese too.
Yeah. So the venue's amazing. The vibe is great. There's like a fire pit outside where people are outside also hanging
They have
out.
beyond Kyle and Audra, there's like a 10 or 8 person staff maybe. Every single night that we're there, like there's just dudes going around that are like making sure all the
Yeah.
shit's going off and
Yeah.
scaring people, and I'm like, this is to see how much time and
There's,
effort they
yeah,
are.
there's
putting
never
in,
a wrapper
it's
on the
awesome.
ground or a can miss. Like everything is just taken care of. And it's on how many acres of land?
I know that they have at least another 100 acres they don't even use.
Yeah. So
Really?
Yeah.
the opportunities for that whole area are just limitless.
We've already talked about pop-up tournaments and the whole deal, and they're just like, yep, let's do it. So I mean, it's not a
Awesome.
matter of if, it's just when. And I'm sure that something will happen this season. It's just a matter of getting beyond the snow and the other things we've got planned without asking for, these guys, poor people, to sign up for another tournament
Yeah.
before the first one happens. But
Yeah.
I mean, these things are just right there on the other side of the canal.
Jason, did you play when you were there? I mean,
No, I went to just kind of like see the experience, and
It's like the perfect thing for you. As a,
I should have. Looking back, I should have.
Yeah.
But
any
I
chance
just
you can
wanted
go
to-
to the Flex Start?
Maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe.
And
That
you
would
know
be-
what?
I think
The
my
Flex
options are-
I'm
Start.
going again. It'd be really
Yeah.
cool to do that.
If you
together.
haven't gone at all, the Flex Start is a great place to go because they turn more of the lights off. They have the fog machines running, so
Yeah.
you can't see
That alone.
halfway down that
Yeah.
hallway. It is creepy as shit.
dude,
And they have lots of the crazy lights, the strobes, the sound effects. Oh man, it's so good.
The room, the butcher room, where there's all like slaughtered pigs hanging
Yeah,
from
yeah,
chains.
yeah.
Playing that in the light, I was so happy to play it with the lights on, because when I was there in the dark and all you see is the strobe, like you're getting like 0.1 second flashes of these bloody pigs hanging all, it was like, can we get out of this room immediately, please?
Right.
Or the room that's like all stuffed animals and like baby
Oh,
dolls.
it's
Like,
terrible.
that's the scariest room in the place to me.
Yeah, I
by
hate that
far.
room. Yeah.
But yeah, even if you don't, I know that people listen to this show that don't disc golf. If you're one of those people, this is such a cool way to like kind of tap into the community. Like,
Yeah.
this is not for disc golfers. This is for anybody who wants to do something fun.
The skill required to putt in the putting league, it's still tough to make those putts, but the energy and the skill required isn't so high that you should be discouraged. It's easy enough that anybody can do it.
It's just like putt. It's like it's what disc golf putt should be.
You get three
putts per station.
right?
Yep.
That's it.
And then they're
it's
all within 30 feet.
Yeah.
And you either made 1, 2, or 3 of them.
Right.
That's right.
And that's your points.
Yep.
In the
And you
last
just
2
add 'em
weeks,
up.
we've actually picked 2 holes that have been double points.
Mm-hmm.
So that's been
Love
fun
that.
too.
Nice.
So it just turns up the heat.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So if you haven't done it, this is going to drop one day before your last chance for the year
For the flex.
for the Flex Start.
Right.
Do it. Tell your friends about it. Get more people to check it out. This is good for the community.
Come on out. Yeah.
Moving on from Hellwood, let's talk about the Disc Golf Chicago event that just happened. That's the Birdie Bowl. Bowl. That event actually happened because we wanted to do a little fundraiser coming into this year. We had pretty much nothing in the bank. And we had all these discs from Disc Mania. We're like, we have everything we need for players packs. Let's give people something fun to do and come up with just a unique format. I actually started with like the logo and like the name of the event. And then I figured out everything else afterwards. With the Southside Glide, the logo was the falcon, which is like the Chicago bird. And so I was like, how can I incorporate another bird into this event? And I was like, it's a winter event. What about a penguin? And then I was like, Birdie Burr. It's going to be cold. Birdie Bowl. Let's make an event that's all about birdies. So we'll like take bogeys out of the equation. Or you're either going to get an ace, a birdie, or a par. If you don't get your par, you just pick your disc up. There's nothing else after that. So you either get 1 point for your par, 3 points for your birdie, or 5 for an ace. And I expected, we played all shorts at Mokina, 27 holes. No hole was over 300 feet. Most of them were like between 150 and like 280. So I expected to see a couple of aces. There was 108 people out there and only one was hit on the day. There were a lot of chain outs that people were upset about. It was stupidly cold. I was very nervous.
And there had been a lot of snow previous to that.
Right.
So that was tough.
Just a few days, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And I was crazy enough to think, oh, well, we'll have people play 2 rounds. We'll get through 2 rounds of 27 in one day when we barely have any sunlight and people play really slow in the snow. So that was just a big misstep. And then thank God we got hammered by a bunch of snow the week before. There's no way people are going to be able to play through this twice in a day. So let's bring it back to 1 round. And instead of asking people to play a second round, we'll do some games, which worked out really well. People played their 27 holes. The sun came out. The pads were totally fine. Thank God to Circle One. Let me do a quick local route shout out to a few people. Mikey Vizd, Anthony Guzzo, Nick O'Reilly, Dan Blazer. I might be missing a name or two, but I know just the Circle One.
If it's
crew.
Rokita, don't worry about it.
I think Rokita's on the
Yeah,
list.
it's okay.
Boots and jeans and boots and jeans.
Those dudes knew that we were in trouble coming into that event, and they were out there every day that week, sweeping pads, shoveling out pads. Like, the only reason that course was playable that day is because those guys looked out for us. So huge thank you to those Circle One guys. They really made the event work. Temperature was fine. At the start of the day, people were very nervous about like, how are we going to actually get through this day? Especially some of the girl players talking to each other like, I don't know if we're going to make it all day. This is too much. But yeah, it warmed up. People had a great time. The games worked out really well. We did a CTP throw off to the practice basket from like the field. And the entire field was an ice sheet because it all melted and then got really cold. So everybody was doing their CTP throw off and the discs were skipping off the ice. So you're just watching everybody try and play these big skips.
Oh, it was like curling. You just have to like skate it up to the cool.
Legitimately, I think people were like trying to lay it down low and just slide all the way to the basket. So it was fun to watch, 100 people try and take that shot. And then after that, we did a Ring of Fire, which is a putting game where everybody stands in a big circle around the basket. You take your shot. If you make it, you advance and the circle gets smaller and smaller until it's only one person that made the putt.
I saw that on Instagram.
Looks pretty cool, right?
Yeah, that turned out good.
Yeah. As far as an event that's unsanctioned goes, that's really just about having fun, it played out perfectly.
I like the point structure. It's like a birdie bash, whatever. What the Vibram had a birdie bash and all those, but the point structure was only if you got birdies. Like it was very low scoring.
Yeah.
But the point structure that you had, I think, was more fair and it seemed a lot more fun.
I hope so. Yeah, I think people had a really good time. All the feedback we got has been very positive. Brand new players who had never done a tournament before were like, thank you. This was so cool. I can't wait to do more.
Yeah, that's another
disc golf
one
stuff.
where like the pressure's kind of off.
Totally. I was crazy enough to say, yeah, card requests are fine. So everybody sent me a card request.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Which was a little tedious to figure out, but in the end was the right thing because if it's just an event for fun, playing with your friends makes all the difference.
What's
in the
that
world.
like? We don't know what that's like.
I don't know. I have no idea.
Sheila.
But yeah, I was excited to see Dana Vici. He got in last minute. He actually took down first place for uppers. Who else? We had Sam Delusky. She took down first place for women's uppers.
Yeah, good for her.
I was happy for the women's turnout in general. Like I think we had 16-ish out of 108.
Awesome.
Yeah, I was really happy with that.
And speaking of that, for Hellwood, the women's turnout has been phenomenal. Like an average
20
of
plus
20
every
plus every week.
That's
We
so
had
great,
Out of
30,
120?
29
It's
or
crazy.
30 one week?
dude.
Unbelievable. Totally.
Ooh, shout out to Sammy's Links and Drinks, who also saved my ass at that event. I told people originally we were going to do walking tacos, and I was like, oh, I'll just make food in advance of the event. And I always try to do too much. And then thank God Sammy's was available and was down to help. They showed up, served hot dogs, beef, drinks, chips, like everything people needed, and hot chocolate, which they donated. So everybody got free hot chocolate all day.
that's great.
Of course.
They just hooked it up. They really took the event to another level and took all the stress off of us. We just had to focus on, getting people their scores and doing the trophies and payouts and
By the way, the
easy.
trophies were amazing as well. Great job.
I'm glad to hear you say that because I felt very dirty not asking you to do the trophies, but I also was like, maybe he'll appreciate me not asking him to do something for me.
I don't mind a bit, especially if they're different. If it's something that we don't see, they looked really good.
They were heavy.
Yeah, they looked heavy.
Glass?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, everything just worked out well. Oh, the players pack too. The hats, big hit.
Yeah, those
People
hats were
love
great.
those hats.
I didn't when we had talked about hats, the supply of any hat is so shit right now that
Sure.
I didn't know if we were going to be able to get anything. But then I saw these beanies and they were Sherpa lined, and I was like, I don't know about that, man.
Dude,
But
it was very needed. Like that day was so
Yeah,
cold.
they're
People
great.
ditched the hats they brought and put that on right away.
Yeah.
And then last thing I'll shout out is Disc Mania, who came through with us, making custom discs for us, pretty much last minute. They turned it around. The design looked really great. Thanks again, Dana and Disc Mania. I mean, I can't say enough about how lucky we were that the event ran so smoothly. And of course, I'd like to do it again next year. It's just, I don't know that we're going to get that lucky again. At that time of year, the weather could change everything. Right. If it didn't get warm, it could have still been a ton of snow on the ground and been very difficult to play. Or if it just stayed really icy, like, is anybody going to break their ass out here? And is a lawsuit in the cards? Because I think it might be. Shout out to everybody who helped run that. That's Andy O'Day, AO the Mortgage Pro, was at Tournament Central with me all day. And then, of course, Eric, Kevin, Tyler, Max, Matt Swing, all those guys who show up and make sure all the events go smooth. So
the regulars.
the boys, yeah.
The
Thank you to all those
boys.
guys. But yeah,
Cool.
that's pretty much a wrap on the Birdie Bowl.
Awesome.
Yeah. All right. So we've gone through a little bit of Delwood, what you guys been up to, what Disc Golf Chicago's been up to. Jason, what in the world have you been up to?
There is a show that I am in love with because of who's on it.
It's the
The
greatest,
greatest show
of
ever.
all
It is.
time.
So I like this stuff because I could see myself getting into the world of improv comedy. I've always been a huge fan of improv comedy.
Oh, I would love to watch that.
People ever since I was a kid have been like, you should be a comedian, you should be a comedian. But the idea of getting up on stage and telling the same joke over and over again is gross to me. But improv comedy.
Buttholes, am I right, guys?
Right, yeah. That's weird.
What's the deal with buttholes?
But like
What's up with buttholes?
getting up on stage and not knowing what the night is going to be and it being something fun and interesting every night. Like
Yeah.
I can get down on some improv comedy.
That makes me so uncomfortable to watch people do that.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I mean, it can go one of two ways.
Right,
it can
right,
be
right,
the
right.
super cringy and embarrassing,
Yeah. I
or
mean,
it could be like, these guys are brilliant.
the most popular example,
Yeah.
whose line is it anyway?
Right.
When it goes right, it is the best. But when
Right.
it goes wrong, you're like,
yeah,
"Ugh,"
it's tough to watch.
Yeah. So
So there is a semi-scripted, semi-improv show that's on Netflix right now that stars one of my most favorite people in the whole wide world, Will Arnett. It's called Murderville.
Oh, nice. I've been waiting for someone to tell me about it.
Phenomenal. It's so good. So, have any of you watched it?
I've heard of
No?
it. I haven't watched it yet.
Sheila and I have watched 3 or 4 episodes.
I'm 4 episodes in. I might have watched the 5th so far. So it is like The Office. It's an American version of a UK show. This
So a
is
better version.
A better version of it, right? What it is Will plays a detective who is investigating a murder each episode. Okay?
Okay.
And in each episode, his partner is a celebrity. And the celebrity does not have a script.
Oh,
The
cool.
celebrity's job is to figure out who done it, right? So there's 3 beats to the show. Actually, well, okay, call it 5 beats to the show. There's the intro. Then they interview 3 potential suspects.
local route.
And then
The bangers and mash.
the bangers mash. And then the last one is they have to see if they figured out who done it based off of the clues that they were given
Neat.
at the murder scene.
Okay. There's been a murder.
Fantastic, yeah. Conan O'Brien, Annie, what is her name from Schitt's Creek? I can't think of all the celebrities that are on it, but it's so well done and well crafted. And I know that
there was
they're...
an NFL player.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, the guy that's doing all the billboards in Chicago right now. Marshawn Lynch.
I got
yeah.
Hey, I got there, Sheila.
Nice.
Marshawn Lynch, I got it.
But the fact that see, the thing is when I say that Will has a script, they just have a loose idea of how everything's going to go. They don't know what the celebrity is going to bring to the table as far as the dialogue is concerned. So
very,
once you
tapped
bring
into
that person
Smartless.
once you bring that person in, then it's all like improv comedy to kind of get through this process.
So great.
But then keep it in line to make sure that they pick up on this little minor detail that is going to come up later because it's part of why that person was the murderer.
Them not picking up on becomes funnier when they don't.
When they don't.
You don't
right.
want them to. You want them to be...
As the viewer, you're like, oh, you see something in the background, you're like, oh, it's them
it.
because of that. But if they miss it and then they don't,
yeah,
it just gets better.
Once you've gotten a couple episodes through, you realize the whole formula. It's funny to watch them struggle. It's funny the scenes where they were making Conan eat all the hot food and the hot sauce.
Right.
And then still carrying on and staying in character while he's struggling to not have a mouth on fire and not break his character, which the levels deep that it goes is pretty impressive. It's like if The Office was also an escape room.
Wow.
It feels like a television show that you're watching someone do an escape room.
Yeah,
but
very fun.
They're funny and it's scripted. The other thing I thought was kind of strange, and it wasn't really, I mean, I guess it was probably explained, but every episode starts the same.
Right.
It's the same scene, literally, and then they introduce the guest.
Right.
And then they come in. So after
there's
three,
a bit
I was
of
like,
there's a bit of a story, but it's also
literally
not,
the same thing, and that's funny too that they do the same thing every time.
Oh, I'm really intrigued to check that out.
Yeah, I think I will as well.
I mean, when I was watching it earlier today, I looked at Will Arnett on the screen and was like, this dude is becoming one of my favorite human beings on the planet.
He is a solid human.
There
He's
is
not
just
what
something
if
about him.
Will Arnett and Paul Rudd were in the same room together?
Oh my God.
Oh. B's and C's.
Yeah,
Speaking of that,
we need to
Yeah,
discuss
we went to a
Will
live
Arnett and
taping,
Smartless.
Sheila and I, and our friends Nick and Nikki went to see a live taping of Smartless at Chicago Theater with Mark Cuban was the guest. We did not know who was going to be the guest, just as you don't know who's going to be the guest, or the 2 other hosts don't know who going to be the guest is. Tons of fun.
Did you have any idea of who it could be, or were you just like, whoever it is going to be great?
We were sitting there, so we went out to eat, and we're talking about like, oh, who could it possibly be?
Right.
Like, who would fit Chicago, Bill Murray was mentioned as we were talking about it. Like that would be nuts. Or like John C. Reilly.
Yeah.
That'd be another one. Of course, we talked about Jordan a little bit, but like that's, I mean, we were like trying to figure out who it could be.
Yeah, sure.
Ended up being Mark Cuban, and it was really cool. I think most people know enough about him. The takeaway that I had from Mark Cuban was completely different. I feel completely different about him now because I was like, oh, this dude is just a hustler. I mean, so many dropped the whole time. Just a real normal feeling dude that just also happens to be a billionaire because he worked his ass off.
That's awesome.
Really cool. And I love the show. And it just...
Knowing that we're going to do another live episode this season, did you guys take anything away from... Okay, that's a very high-end podcast, Chicago theater. Like this is, probably one of the more popular shows and bigger live podcasts that maybe has happened in podcast history. I'm just guessing. Yeah. Is there anything that you guys felt like, oh, when we do our live episode next, we should do X like that? Or was there any inspiration?
Couches. You should be sitting on couches.
Oh,
I like that.
Cool.
But
I like a good couch.
I feel like the Paul Macbeth episode was longer than the live episode.
I was going to say it went pretty quick.
Theirs was like an hour or less.
Bing, bada, boom. Like they started out backstage and it was kind of like a little bit of banter and then they come running out and it's like, hey, and everybody's like, wee. Yeah. And then Cuban comes out, they do the whole episode and then Cuban dipped as they do on the episodes, then they still have banter afterwards. And then their whole thing is like, how can they do bye? If you listen to Smart, that's the whole ender. They did that and they just jogged off stage. And it was like, oh yeah, this was not a concert where there's going to be an encore where you're like, no man, hang out. They're coming back. No, they were gone. We left.
Well, so it was like that was similar quick to ours when the whole episode took maybe an hour and a half tops, I think. Yeah. And then as soon as the show was done, it was like, everybody get out. Well, let's put this all down. Like, take it all down.
Yeah, but we weren't sitting on couches, man.
Yeah, we should have gotten a hold of Will Arnett and just said, hey.
Also, we're not Will Arnett, Jason Bateman, or Sean.
Yeah. Or,
right,
yeah.
Speaking of podcasts, there's only 8 episodes up because it just started, but I've listened to 2 and I'm loving it. David Spade and Dana Carvey are doing a podcast together right now called Fly on the Wall.
Man.
And it is recapping what it's like to be backstage at SNL. And
they were being
Chris Rock and Rob Lowe and like all these people that are like the people you want to know, like as guests.
Oh, guests on the show?
Yeah.
Oh, get out of town.
Yeah. The first episode is the 2 of them and Chris Rock. Second one is Rob Lowe. These are the guys you want to be telling the stories that they're telling if you like SNL. The beginning of the second episode, right before they bring Rob Lowe on, David tells a story about him and Farley getting into a fight over who was going to hang out with Rob Lowe on set of Tommy Boy More. And just it brought like tears to my eyes a little bit. The fact that those movies are so important to me. Yeah. Their time on SNL is comedy gold to me, and the movies they were cranking out at the time. So to hear them talk about that backstage stuff, it was just giving me goosebumps. I absolutely loved it.
Is there anything else that we, really should catch people up on?
We could talk about the disc golf dream I had last night.
Yes.
I had a disc golf related dream last night, and it's still a little hazy. I should have wrote down the details this morning, but essentially,
am I going to have to cut a lot of this out?
No. Okay. It was
this already feels like there's going to be a too far T punch.
Yeah, here we go.
There's buttholes in this for sure.
But every time you talk, it still feels like.
I know. So I had a dream that you had set up a tournament that I was there vending for, but by vending, I was pulling a wagon behind me, but by wagon, it was like a piece of plywood on wheels. So it was like 3 foot by 5 foot, and I had drinks on it that were just like all like wobbly on the plywood.
With the ice
but I was like pulling it behind me, and you told me that there was like a grass line that you had mowed, and you were like, just stay in the grass, just stay where I mowed, and just go up to people and sell them drinks. And I was like, all right, cool, I can do that. So I'm pulling this wagon behind me down this like grassy part, and I start walking, and oh my God, I forgot his name. What's like there's like that good looking dude that's part of Circle One. He was here.
Anthony Guzzo.
Yes, Anthony.
Was Guzzo here for that?
Anyway.
Good beard. Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I think it was him. Yes, it was Guzzo.
I did the speech.
Yes. It was him. Now it's coming back to me. He threw and it made like a wild curve in the air and started coming towards me. And you guys were yelling like, look out, look out. And,
That sounds like Guzzo with the Aaron
so
throwing.
like, and I turned to hear you guys. And as I'm turning, I see it out of the corner of my eye and I flinch. And the disc lands right in between my shoulder and my head as I flinch. And then I woke up. that was a disc golf dream. That like the disc with the poop, and I caught it.
What's
right
the
there.
analysis?
I caught it right there,
What's
and
your
then I woke up.
subconscious trying to tell you?
I don't know on that one. That's why I wanted to let you guys know.
I think Lauren could help us get to the bottom of this one. The clairvoyancy is a big part of dream interpretation. No.
You better watch your ass.
Okay. All right.
She said you're not welcome in the disc golf community.
Yeah,
That's
right?
what that means.
A big theory in dream interpretation is that you are just practicing for real life scenarios.
Simulation.
Yeah, your mind is just going through scenarios that it can hope to relive. And if those situations arise, you now know a little bit better about how to react.
Yeah.
And so
It's about the anticipation of you wanting to also still be at Delwood Disc Golf this summer, helping out and all the things that we do.
Yeah.
That might entail you dragging drinks on a piece of plywood.
On a piece of plywood behind me.
But that you're worried about getting in the way.
Oh, right?
Oh.
Yeah, because I kind of did in the dream.
Both figuratively, literally.
Interesting.
I like that.
You can cut it out, but that was...
No. I'm trying.
That
to
was my disc golf dream.
I think there should be a Jason's dream segment on every episode.
When I was a child, I dreamt, Jimothy.
Dreamed.
Can I call you Jim?
I dreamed.
I dreamed almost every night. I maybe remember my dreams once a year now. It's crazy. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm the same way. Not often. Not often.
Fascinating.
Yeah.
Not
But it
often.
just so happened to be last night.
Speaking of vending at tournaments, I won't mention names because it doesn't matter who it was. A person reached out to us and asked if they could vend at one of our tournaments as a disc dyer and peddle their disc dyeing wares. And it got me thinking, and I've seen more and more posts about disc dyeing lately. And I don't know if every disc golfer has tried it but I would guess we've all sat in
Have you done
my
it?
basement.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You've done it. I've done it.
And we've tried it. And
She's
we've
done
done
it. You done it?
wow. This is cool.
Lauren Lakeberg.
Lauren hasn't tried it. She was too busy doing cool shit.
Right.
Yeah.
It takes too long, and the effort required is, to me, just too great for what we had turned out. Now, the level of disc dyeing has grown exponentially, and some of these disc dyeing people have surpassed any expectation of what I thought could be on a disc.
Yeah,
Some of
I
these
thought that it was pretty random. You put your dye on the disc and you're just like, whatever comes out is going to be cool, right?
Yeah.
Clearly,
Here's some shaving cream. Here's some shit. Throw it together. See what happens.
Clearly, there are people who have figured out how to get exactly
Absolutely.
what they want to see, and some of it is
So,
amazing.
yeah. So my query is not with why to do it or how to do it, but why to make a business out of it. As a small business owner, and I am just my own sample, I guess, there is a cost basis that I have to endure, and I have to have a profit of a fairly large amount to continue what I'm doing, right? And then on top of that, to make money and a living doing what I'm doing. So I know what my numbers are and what I have to hit. And if I don't do that, then I don't have anything if I don't have that, right?
Sure.
And I know a lot of guys are doing this just for fun, and they're not doing it to make money. But you can't disc dye and spend all of the money that you're doing it and not at least get a small return back so that you can continue having fun doing it.
Yeah.
But I'm seeing tons and tons and tons of disc dyers, this guy included, that was asking to vend at the tournament. They can't possibly be making money once the time and materials have been calculated to continue doing what they're doing. And it's blowing my mind to see how many people are doing it, what little profits could possibly be made from it, knowing what it takes. I just don't see the business model making sense.
There's a lot of people doing it. And there were a lot of people doing it 10 years ago to scale to the amount of disc golfers there were 10 years ago.
Sure.
Now, because that number has exploded, now we are seeing, and this is like the crack up for me. Like, I love all these guys, but I just feel like every person that does disc dyes acts as if it's never been seen before. Mm-hmm. So being somebody that's in disc golf, that is a thing that's very eye rolling to me. Like,
I mean, don't they have to?
already.
Don't they have to? That's like scarves or shirts, or I mean, if you're out there selling whatever you're selling,
if you saw the number,
you have
of
to
people
approach it with that
I
attitude.
saw doing it, you'd understand why I feel the way that
I think this calls for an episode of Judge Jason. So, Judge Jason, if it please the court.
Your Honor.
You may approach the bench.
Thank you. When we're done with our discussion, I would really love your ruling on whether or not we are on crack for thinking what we're thinking about the disc dyeing genre.
Okay.
So to continue,
Is there going to be a plaintiff and a defendant?
no, I don't think so. I think this is more like Supreme Court. Like, I am just pleading my case to the judge at this point.
Sheila raised her hand. Are you wanting to be a plaintiff or a defendant?
This is what I have to say. In anything, I don't care if it's disc dyeing or making t-shirts for ping pong. I think there's companies popping up everywhere, including Amazon, that are just making money off of your hobby. So if you like someone that dyes discs and they are giving back to your community, by all means, support their art, support what they're doing. But if you don't know who is selling these exact things, and it's just because it's disc golf, there's always going to be companies popping up out of nowhere that are like, they're no name, but they know that they can make money off of what you like.
There's no soul in it.
Exactly. Yeah. So I say support the people that are supporting your hobbies. If a disc dyer is giving back to your own community and doing leagues or just giving back in some sort of way, awesome. But if they're there strictly for a profit, I'm against it.
Okay.
That's my...
I like that take.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of feel the same way, but I guess my beef, if we're going to bring beef back to Judge Jason, is not really with the process of disc dyeing or that people want to dye discs. I appreciate it. I think they're cool. I'll buy them. I've bought how many last year? The fact that people are making it a business model that they are trying to make a living from is what is blowing my mind. I spoke with
Tiffany Shaw.
Yeah, I spoke with Tiffany Shaw over at Hellwood on Friday to kind of confirm my suspicions. And she kind of told me what I had thought was the case. Most of these guys are doing it as a hobby, and I really appreciate that. I want people to have a hobby like that where they can pour their time and their efforts and their talent into and really appreciate what they're doing and be proud of what they're doing and maybe make $1 or $2 back so that they can continue to do it.
Yeah.
And I strive to support that. But the few that are trying to make a living
to a point where they're willing to reach out to a tournament director a couple states away to drive and the money that it costs to get there. And
sure. I mean, I've seen in the last couple of weeks, disc dyers travel across the country to go set up a booth. And one thing I talked with Tiffany Shaw about was the time that it takes to dye a disc, and what we boiled it down to was a very simple, quick dye. When everything is said and done, probably 20 to 25 minutes a disc. Mm-hmm. So let's call it 20 minutes. So you get 3 discs an hour. If you are trying to make a living at this point in this day and age, you got to make $50, $55 an hour as a, sole proprietor of a business.
Yeah.
So you're making, how many dollars on each disc once you factor in all that time. And then there's the materials and the dyes, and I know they're inexpensive. That makes sense to me. But when you factor all of that in, and then the travel time to do it, and then setting up a booth, and these discs, you're not talking to Latitude 64 and getting 10,000 blank white discs. You're going to places like Delwood Disc Golf, and you're going to these retailers online, and maybe you're getting a discount. It's not a wholesale discount, right? Mm-hmm. Which is what would only make sense to me to make a profit. So when you factor all of that in, are you making $1, $2, $3 a disc?
Probably.
Are you thinking you're making more because you're not factoring in your time?
Right. I think that's
I'm making $15 a disc. No, you're not.
Right. Yeah. Right.
How much mileage? How much time did it take? Right. How much in packaging? Cost of materials, shipping, all of these things.
They want to turn a blind eye to all of that and just think about the $15.
And it makes... Yeah. Okay, I spent $15 on this disc, and I spent half an hour, 40 minutes because I'm new at this, and I fucked up a couple and whatever. So now I have to sell these at $40 a disc to make enough money to buy more discs to do it again. Mm-hmm. And that's where it ends, right? Mm-hmm. I'm going to sell this disc so I can do it again. I guess that's still kind of a side hustle, but I guess that's okay. Like, hey, Alex, you want to buy this disc for me?
No.
You say yes. Okay. He
I
buys
do.
the disc so
will.
that I can buy another disc and I can do it. And I don't see it progressing like a lot of things would have to progress, especially with a sport that is so relatively small, like disc golf still.
Right.
Even though it's growing exponentially, it's still small.
It's just always, it's irritating for me to always watch every little thing get attempted to be monetized.
Sure.
Right.
Let it be a hobby. Let it be a fun thing. But inevitably, it's just scooped up and monetized, and that becomes like, I don't know, barfy to me. I've seen it with zipper pulls. I mean, our very close buddy Donnie Longton did zipper grips. Like,
I'm going to be the defendant and
go ahead.
I want to support the other side here. First, and this is a very small point. It's not really a cog in my case, but Salt Bae comes to mind for me. I don't think what he's cooking is that different to any other chef, but just because he freaking drizzles the salt off his arm in a certain way, and like the way he cuts the meat is always like, people are buying his presentation more than anything. And it's not to say that you couldn't make a name for yourself dyeing discs in a very entertaining way. Like if you were recording the process you were doing and you were doing it in a way that nobody else was, you could get a following going for it. You could make some money from it.
I think there's an
But
added
and you're
value.
selling yourself.
Correct.
The disc is a byproduct
Exactly.
of it. So
it's
Exactly.
immediately copycatted though.
Yeah.
Like, immediately.
Of course.
Like
Right.
you
Of
buy a
course.
dyed disc and go, dude, I could do this. Like, and then everybody does it.
Now let me get to the actual, like, my case is that I don't think most people in the disc dyeing community are doing it to make money. I think there are some people who are misled or misunderstand the potential of doing it. And I think most people are coming from a place of something that's very understandable to me, which is if I could find a way to tie what I love to a way to make money, then I could be happy. And I think a lot of people have jobs that they hate and that they're miserable. And the opportunity to maybe find a way out of that and to make some money doing something they like to do is so hard to deny, that some people get blinded by the opportunity. And then I think that the more people who are doing it just because it makes them happy and they're not really seeing this as a business opportunity, they just love doing it and they love being to contribute something to the community. Like, hey, this is from me. Like I came up with this idea and this is me leaving my fingerprints on the culture and the community. No, I'm not going to make any real money from it, but I like to do it. It makes me happy. I think there's no reason to discourage that at all.
No,
think
I would
that's-
agree with
that's
that.
a really good thing for people to do. At the end of the day, there's like nobody's really making money in disc golf. I mean, there's a very small amount of people who are actually have made a career out of it and like they're unicorns at this stage. Maybe someday down the line, more people will be able to actually make money from disc golf. But as of now, it's not really there. And mostly what we see is just people doing it for the love of the game. And I don't think there's any reason to discourage people from doing it. But I do agree with you that there are some people who are
A lot of
misguided.
A lot of the things that we're talking about are so easily accessible to try, and then the inevitability of them trying it is the immediate, I can do this and sell it. And there are so many people doing it.
Yeah.
So it's
well,
like,
and the dyes are brighter and the discs are cooler and everything's getting better.
right.
You know, it's like video games. We're talking about, we're playing Nintendo and now we're playing PS4.
Sure.
You know, when it comes to the quality of the disc dyes, but the motivation remains the same. Again, I guess if you're doing it with the hopes that you make a little bit of money to continue to do it, please do that. But when you have a backstock of thousands of discs, which is the case with some people, thousands, to continue to dye them and sell them in order to try and make a living, man, I wish you well. But I just don't see a 401k being accrued from dyeing discs. I just don't, you know? So
this really bums me out because I think it really is born from getting excited by the idea of if I just grind or if I just find a thing I can do on the side, then maybe I can not have a miserable relationship with what I do for money.
I hope that's not what it is.
I think
but
that-
maybe
I hope
that's
that it's not what it is. And my God, if it's that bad, maybe disc dyeing isn't going to fix it. Like,
I don't know.
You know what I mean?
Even if they're not pursuing it because that's their ticket out, like if they're just doing it for their mental health as a hobby and it funds their ability to continue doing that hobby.
Well, we talk about disc golf in general as a hobby. Like people come in and buy discs they don't need all damn day. And that is your business model. That is what you do is you sell discs.
Right.
Mostly to people that have too many in the first place.
Right.
That continue to buy them. So I guess we're in the same boat when it comes to that.
Do you remember when I first reached out to you? You were doing Clash, and I wanted to get involved with sponsorships. So that was born from I'm never going to be a great disc golfer, but what I do for money is I sell sponsorships / advertising. And what I really love is disc golf. Can I find a way to marry those two things together?
Sure.
I never thought I'll make money selling sponsorships in disc golf, but I can at least contribute something that I know I'm decent at and something I care about. Let me find a way to intersect those two.
I hope that that's where the motivation comes for most people. And
I
again,
hope so, but we know there's some dummies out there who got it wrong for sure.
Yeah, Lauren Lakeberg is raising her hand because that is her motivation.
I've been
Yeah,
doing it
yeah,
15 years.
yeah.
So
And you've made
it
millions
has
doing
always
it.
been from here, and I've made millions of dollars.
Yeah, millions. But I don't want to I don't want people to misunderstand. Like I hope everyone is successful doing it. I don't knock it at all. I think it's awesome, and I think everyone that's doing it is talented in their own way. And I've seen nothing but really good stuff, but I just don't see it being a sustainable business practice, and I don't want to see people fail trying to do something that is just not gonna work.
You can play your guitar. You don't have to be in a band touring.
What if
You can dye
wrote
discs.
disc golf songs and then I sold the CDs?
Wait a minute. Write that down.
If I was seeing a lot of talent hit the feed of my disc golf content, I'd probably feel a lot differently. But what I'm seeing is that someone saw someone else do something and they're doing the same thing with the same materials, the same way, with the same colors.
And trying to act like
Yeah.
theirs is
Oh
better.
my God. No, man. It's worm dip on another essence. We've seen one. 10 of them last week.
It's a little uncomfortable to talk about because we have
It
people
is.
that we know
Yeah.
that are really good at
Yeah.
it and really passionate.
When I talked to Tiffany Shaw, I did mention to her that we want her on the podcast.
I would
and
love
partly
we gotta do
to talk about this specific subject because she is an incredibly talented disc dyer, but she has also admitted to us that she has spent weeks dyeing a disc, a single disc.
disc.
And I'm not talking.
And I've seen that work, and
Yeah.
it is Monet's.
Yeah,
It's
and
incredible.
I'm not talking full time, but there's hours and 10s and 20s and 30s and 40s of hours into these discs.
Wow.
And I can guarantee you she is not charging $2,500 for that disc,
Right.
which
Right.
it should be based on
At
the
best, you can
hours of
sell
work
it for 50
right?
to $100, and that's not worth.
You
it.
can't.
But it's-
So she is incredibly talented, and I would really love to hear more.
When
of
she was
her
at
take.
one of the last disc swap, I think she
at Workforce.
she had like a sign to do custom. That was a thing, right? She
Yeah.
had a sign that was like to do custom, like very specific. You
Yes.
want this thing and you
on
know,
this
she'll do-
disc, and uh-huh.
So that was pretty cool. I
Yeah.
like that. That's I guess.
I want to mention just real quick that Devin Hernandez, who I mentioned earlier in the show, he went to the school. He is a really talented dyer, and he does great work with glow. If I'm ever going to buy a custom dyed disc, it's going to be because it's from somebody that I respect and I like their work, and I'm more than happy to pay somebody like Devin for his work. But really, what I get from seeing his, like, once he puts his fingerprints on it, it's like now that's a Devin piece of art, and I know nobody else is going to have that. I do want that. I am willing to pay more to have that.
Yeah, there's got to be an attachment value.
It's an attachment because I know he's cool, and I know where this came from. Just him loving
and
to
not
do it.
just like, whoa, this one's got pink swirls. Cool.
If I showed up to a booth and I didn't know Devin and he just had a bunch of dyes, I'd be like, those are super dope. Am I going to buy one? I'm not sure. But since I know him and I respect him and I like what he's all about, I do want his art. I do want to like be the only one that has that thing. And if you haven't seen his stuff, you should check. I mean, he's very talented. I think his username on Instagram is Devin Hernandez. Could be
Oh,
mistaken.
clever. So, Jason, hearing all of that, Your Honor, Judge Jason, what is your take on this situation? What is your ruling?
I declare that disc dyeing is just that. It is dead. Find a way to make some money somewhere else and just let it be art. And stop trying to make everything a goddamn side hustle. Court adjourned.
That's brilliant. Yeah, you as a sassy Southern judge. Yeah.
Yeah.
We need more of that.
We need to give you a gavel so we can. Ruling.
That's it.
That's
That's
it.
the ruling.
And if anyone says anything else, he'll hold you in contempt of court.
Completely. And my arms are big. I can hold
Who's
them.
your bailiff?
Lauren Lakeberg.
I was going to say, is it
Right?
Lauren or Sheila?
Yeah. Lauren.
Lauren's going to walk me out.
Sheila's the type lady.
The
Stenographer.
Stenographer.
Yeah.
Okay.
Cool.
Well, that was a cool first session
Yeah.
of Judge Jason. Be sure to catch more of those as
It's
the
a
season
little. It's
progresses.
a little beefy. I'll say. It's a little beefy.
I think it has to be. There has to be an argument
Yeah.
Right.
to be had. Hopefully, eventually, we will get two sides to the story. But I think we're all in agreement at this point.
No disrespect.
No,
Absolutely.
please
No
keep doing it.
disrespect.
Please keep doing
don't
it.
take it the wrong way.
But let's move along. I really wanted to talk a little bit while we're here about the uDisc article that came out that talked a lot about some of the like crazy stats from this year.
Mhm.
So cool that we have that resource just going on.
Yeah.
Like everybody.
And if you're not familiar with it, you can check out the Delwood Disc Golf article talking about the uDisc article.
Oh, yeah.
That was expertly written.
by who?
Oh, we got the hair flip by Miss Sheila Callahan.
Wow.
But it's a great article about the article, but the article is actually great as well. So
And if you follow my Facebook, I'm going to write a small article about Sheila's article, which was about the article. So
right.
Ooh.
that'll be exciting. Look for that.
and then I'll record a reaction video to Jason's
Right.
article
Please.
about the article. About
That
it.
is by sidebar. That is TikTok to me. That is
yeah.
all
Yeah.
I see on TikTok
Yeah.
is people just recreating
And
other
then-
people's content and then
yeah.
being famous for that recreation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then people reacting to
Right.
that and then being famous because they reacted to it.
Yeah.
And I just want to break my phone in half.
Yeah.
But I digest.
I digest.
Disc Golf Digest. It's taken.
Basically, this is an article that just kind of recaps the main like eye-popping stats from this year. And there have been a lot of big stats since 2020 when disc golf really started to
Right.
pick up tons of steam. But the one that we were just talking about before we started recording was 5.28 new courses a day were installed in 2021.
Which I still can't wrap my head around. It just doesn't compute.
We sat here and tried to kind of figure out like what does it really mean? Like
Worldwide, yeah.
1,500 new courses were installed.
And
in
I'm going to
2021?
guess a lot of the United States, a lot of the Netherlands, Western
Mexico.
and Central Europe, Mexico.
One in Mexico. Shout out to
But I would
Mexico.
really like to see, is there anything over in like Japan, China? Like, are they growing in the same trajectory
Right.
that the rest of the world is? I don't know. I'd love to see that.
I didn't look at the full report, which I should have, and I'm going to. This is such great ammunition for me to go to the parks, Chicago parks people and be like, look, it's blowing up everywhere.
Look how behind you are.
But there's still zero here. Come on.
Yeah.
So it's going to be part of our presentation at some point, and I
Yeah.
will go through it. But 1,500 new courses.
Mm-hmm.
And that's relevant because we know Delwood has been on the list as one of the top courses in the world for a while now. Like how many years consecutively have you been on that list? Do you know?
So they started doing it in 2020, and we were number 5 that first year.
Awesome.
Last year, we dropped 3 spots to number 8.
Mhm.
And then this year, once they released the article, we dropped to out of the top 10, unfortunately, but that's okay because of the
Still.
reason why. Number 22. 22 out of 14,000 ain't too
14,000.
bad, dog.
Yeah. So if there is 1,500 new courses in the last year and you dropped 14 spots,
Yeah.
Pretty damn good.
Yeah.
That
take
basically
it.
means what, like 1,490 of them, or 1,495 of them were worse than Delwood.
Right.
yeah.
And what you also see from the release is that all of the top 10 courses are now private courses.
Pay to play, private.
Pay to play
Mm-hmm.
private courses. So that's very interesting.
Privately funded with a butt ton of money.
A ton of money. As where, most other places like Delwood are working on shoestring budgets. Again, I'll take it.
I didn't look at the courses that were actually on the list. So these private courses, I'd like to understand kind of who's building them. Where's the money coming from? Should we just run down the list?
Yeah. You want to take it or you want me to take it?
If you got
Go
it.
back and forth. That'll be fun to watch you guys go back and forth.
Okay.
Call and response. Here we go.
Sean, you do one.
Top 10 disc golf courses in the world
No, you do 10. Sorry, not one. You're going to start.
Oh,
with
we're going to
10.
count down.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
As of 2022.
Uh-huh.
Starting with number 10, that is Blue Ribbon Pines in East Bethel, Minnesota, USA.
which is not a surprise.
Has anyone played it?
I've never been to Blue Ribbon Pines. I've heard only awesome things.
We've
Yeah,
seen it
same.
on coverage a ton.
Sure.
Mm-hmm.
Looks like a destination course. Definitely want to go. Definitely. on
If
the list.
anyone has played one of the courses that we list, say something.
Sure.
Number 9, Flip City Disc Golf in Shelby, Michigan, USA.
Never heard of it.
I've played there twice.
Yep, we've
Yep.
played there.
And
We've been there.
Haven't shut up about it since.
Right. We've referenced it a few times on the podcast. Great course. It's funny. We just had somebody in the shop the other day, 2 guys from Michigan, and we were talking about flip. Even Michiganders, is that a word? Michiganders. They were like, I don't know. There's better course. They were saying it's not flip. There are other courses that are better than flip in Michigan that should be representing the Mitten State instead of flip.
Well, you have to take into consideration this is uDisc's stats.
Totally.
I mean, there's no denying the fact that these lists are valid, but it's via uDisc. So
it's people's personal feelings are kind of like, and part of why flip is because of like the lore and like people love. It's like the vibe.
Yeah,
it's not necessarily
right
the most
now. There's no
course.
other way to quantify it.
Right. It's
So
just kind of what
good on them
people-
for doing it. Yeah.
I'm sure you guys have already looked. Are there, in the top 10, are there multiple states represented? Or is there 10 courses in 10 different states?
10 courses in 10 different states and or countries.
Okay. So essentially, not only are they saying that these are the top 10 courses, they're also essentially saying that they're the best course in that state.
They have those stats available as well.
But I just by default, right? Like if there's no other course.
Right. If it's top 10 in the world, it's going to be the number
best
one
in
course
that
in the state.
And you're saying
Yeah.
that those people from Michigan were saying that it's not even the best course in the state?
Based on their opinion. Yeah.
Well, sure. It's like guys from Fairfield saying Fairfield's better
Right.
than Delwood
There's
because they live closer to
people
Fairfield.
from Illinois that have squawked every year that Delhi's been in the top 10.
Yeah, there's also like, again, the feeling that you have is influence, and I don't know what they based these ratings on, because is it the number of rounds played at those courses? Is it the number of like average ratings players are giving it? You know, what is, I don't know what is defining best. You know. Anyways, where were we?
Let me read what uDisc has here in this article, and that will help us kind of get there.
Oh, cool.
How did you create the rankings? As if this is like a frequently asked question to uDisc. 2022's World's Best Disc Golf Courses rankings are based on a system that gave recent course ratings by disc golfers with uDisc more weight than older ones. Additionally, we took into account how harshly or easily different regions tend to rate courses and made adjustments to even out those differences. Finally, courses with low numbers of ratings received penalties. Interesting.
So if you're from an area that doesn't have a lot of courses and you don't have as much of a frame of reference, and you just think, well, we have 5 courses in the state and this is the best one,
5-star.
yeah, your vote shouldn't count as much as somebody from Joliet who's got 6 courses right here of major varying levels of difficulty and fun.
But on the other end of that spectrum, the top 10 courses, the new courses that have gone in that have made that list, it says the newer ratings are more heavily weighted.
Correct.
And Delwood has 1 billion ratings.
Right.
And so that may have worked.
Dating back to 2014.
Yeah, that may have worked against Delwood's rating. I'm not saying that they should, Delwood should be higher or lower. I'm just saying the rating system
example.
may have been.
That kind of worked against them a little.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
But all of those deserve to be where they are anyway. So
Do you ever look at the top 250 movies on IMDb?
Yeah, all the time. Yeah.
So sometimes a movie comes out like this, let's say it came out this year and it's in the top 250 of all time.
Right.
A lot of the times that happens probably for the same reason. It's new, so it's weighted differently. And like a couple years later, that movie is not in the top 250 anymore. It's just
way down.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So some of these courses that may have gotten big surges because they're new may not necessarily be in that same position.
yeah, some of them had a lot of hype, and
Right.
I could see how that could be the case.
Definitely.
And thank God, as we get to this crazy number of 14,000 courses worldwide, that there are ones that are better than existing courses. Shouldn't that absolutely be the case?
yes,
thank
absolutely.
God
Please.
this is the
Yeah.
case.
Plus, nobody rated the Hellwood course. That should be on the list.
Yeah,
somewhere.
I mean,
true.
come on, man.
Yeah.
They're all
Come on,
within,
Pete.
they're all
What are we
within
up to?
30 feet.
And
Jeez.
Number,
Callahan Acres isn't on the list either, but
Yeah.
Yeah, well, we'll get there.
There's
Moving on to
23.
number 8.
Number 8, right? Yeah.
We are on number 8 now.
Already?
Caliber Disc Golf Course in Sandpoint, Idaho, US of A. Never heard of it. I do know that's not too far from where Jason Oxen.
I was just going to
208
say,
Discs
Jason
is.
Oxen posts about Sandpoint all the time.
Yeah.
So
that's really cool to see
Mm-hmm.
another maybe similar situation to Delhi, where I know he's super involved and running a lot of events out there. So that's great to hear because he's confidant, and I'm happy to hear that things
Yeah,
are going.
he's a
well
rad dude. I
out
hope he
in
had something to
his
do with
area
it.
for
Yeah.
sure.
Nice.
Numero 7. Eagles Crossing Disc Golf Course in Hawk Point, Missouri.
that's one
USA.
that has had a lot of hype.
So much
Yes.
buzz.
It looks awesome.
Yeah.
We've seen coverage from
Yes.
that, and
There was a GK Pro skins match
Yeah.
last year.
It
that
just
was, that was
looks-
the first debut.
it looks kind of larger than life.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there's like large concrete alligator lawn ornaments.
Right.
Like
I love that.
that's crazy cool.
Yeah,
like,
it is
But
absolutely.
you're not going to see that anywhere else.
No.
You guys just made me think of something for somebody that has never been to that state, let alone played that disc golf course.
You've never
What-
been to Missouri?
What is that? No. I just mean for one, not
Oh, okay.
myself. How do you find out that they exist? Just
uDisc.
through social? How do you find out that what they look like? What is it? Just coverage that you might see on Jomez or something like that? Is
Yeah, I mean, there are a
if
lot
you don't
of
live there and don't frequent
Well,
there,
if
is that
you
the only
go-
way to find out what it looks like?
You can go on uDisc or Disc Golf Course Review, dgcoursereview.com, where people post their reviews and photos and like write-ups of the course.
There's just
I see.
enough disc golf on my Facebook feeds and things
Yeah.
that like you
Yeah.
get the
all
keywords and you get the
there
buzz
to
and like local
eventually click and
pros
find.
have gone and
Wow.
played them, and like Zach Finwall won't shut up about it.
Right.
And like when he won't, then I have to take it seriously.
Yeah.
You know,
Okay.
so that's how I hear about a lot of it.
Number 6, Brewster Ridge Disc Golf Course Smugglers Notch Resort in Vermont, US of A. Totally deserving.
Yeah.
2 courses over at Brewster's Ridge because that's where they have Green Mountain Championships.
Yeah, do they combine them at some? I don't remember, but yeah, it's a series of like it's a conglomeration of disc
Yeah.
golf up there,
And that's
Crazy.
where Jeff Spring got his started those courses. So
Oh, cool.
that's kind of what the foundation that he built to become who he is today, doing what he's doing with DGPT. So
Were they in the top 10 before?
yes,
That's what I thought. That one's been in there
Yeah.
for a while,
Yeah, that
and
one's been
deservedly so.
Yep.
Yeah.
I really am glad that I don't have the next one. I don't know how to pronounce it, and I don't think you do. So number 5 is Kipaswo Pro at Heinola Disc Golf Park World, Heinola, Finland. Matt's Adamzak would roll over if you heard me try
Yeah.
and say that.
Yeah.
But you're with the next one.
Let's go back here. Oh, there's a slash through the O.
Yes.
That's a,
Overas Disc Golf Park in Vestnes, Norway.
Okay, let's go with that.
Close
that's
enough.
got periodic symbols in the name.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean that's a crazy one.
I don't have any frame of reference for those.
Yeah, I've got nothing on it as I'm
Right.
clicking the link. But here's an interesting fact: Year Open 2013, so new in the grand scheme of disc golf, but
Not new.
not new. And this one is new to the top 100.
And I really like watching coverage from over in Europe and the Netherlands and what they're doing over there. I think Gatekeeper had some coverage that happened over the summer, and they just released it not too long ago, and it looks amazing. I just have no idea where it was from. The disc golf up there is on another level.
One day we're gonna do a UD goes global, and we're gonna road trip to Finland or somewhere.
You know, we can't really road trip to Finland, but
Yeah.
Well,
I get you.
air trip,
Plane
okay,
trip.
all right,
Yeah.
yeah,
Or-
okay.
or we could swim.
Swim trip.
Yeah.
Swim trip.
Okay.
Number 3, Hillcrest Farm, Bonshaw, Prince Edward Island, Canada.
I don't know anything about that one.
But shout out to our neighbors to the north. I love me some Canada.
Good
Truly.
people,
Yeah.
mostly.
I used to like the exchange rate when I was in high school and college
Mhm.
because we could go gamble, and then when you lost $100, you're like, oh, it was actually only $60. I don't feel
Yeah.
so bad.
Nice.
Not now.
Not so
Not
much.
anymore.
Number 2, Krakol Disc Golf Course in Sigurd, Norway. That's probably butchered.
Sigurd. I don't, yeah,
Butchered.
It sounded more accurate, but it's probably just as wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sure.
Because he
Yeah.
said it like he was from Japan.
Right. Yeah.
That made
Exactly.
it-
Yep.
Yeah.
Not even close.
Year Open 2018.
Yoroshiku
Newer,
onegaishimasu.
newer in the grand scheme.
And number 1, Maple Hill Disc Golf
No.
in Leicester, Massachusetts, USA.
Leicester?
I believe it's pronounced Leicester.
Leicester?
Yeah, Leicester.
It is Leicester?
It's like Worcestershire.
Ah,
Yeah.
why do they do that, man?
I don't know. The Brits love just throwing in extra letters in.
They do.
Why does color need a U in it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Year Open 2002.
True.
And
Yeah.
it was also number 1 last year. It may have been number 1 in 2020 as well.
You know, I would have to play that. That doesn't seem like the number 1 top course to me. With all of the other courses that I've seen, like Eagles Crossing, that looks like the Pebble Beach of disc golf courses. Like just the way it's been designed and put together. Maybe it's too new to overtake, but Maple Hill looks amazing, but it just doesn't look like, I don't know.
I'm going to say that's a
I would have to play
situation
it.
where I bet the culture around that
it's got the
facility
history.
has just got that vibe that makes it that place.
Yeah, once
I
it's a
hope that's the case,
destination,
yeah.
you by the time you finally book the trip and you go up there with your friends, everybody is so hyped about being there.
Is that like-
it colors your experience?
Yeah.
The same way, like when I finally went to Flip, I did walk away thinking like that's one of the greatest courses I'm ever going to play.
Is that
Yep.
to them their Sandy Point?
Right.
You know,
Like it's probably
Maybe.
like a Sandy Point dipped in Delwood and rolled in Northwoods. Like it's all of those things in one place, and then also has this massive event that's been going on there for a long time, and and all the buzz around that. So
and I've watched the coverage for so long that probably if I did end up going there and playing, I would feel it too.
yeah, that's a special one to
I
watch.
must have to,
I
yeah.
look forward to seeing the MVP Open on Jomez. That's awesome.
Very grateful that we have uDisc collecting and aggregating all this information.
Oh yeah.
Encouraging players to rate the courses, how many rounds a day are being played in this geographic area, like being able to go show the park district people and all these other entities where courses could be. No, you can't argue with numbers. It's so valuable for the growth of the sport. So it's like a cycle that's feeding itself because people want to play, they're tracking the data, they're showing other people, hey, look how many people are playing, and that is allowing for more disc golf to happen because the
Snowballs.
Yeah, exactly. It's so great.
Yeah, I've forwarded this article to the park district every year, and I mean to the point where Dave asks all when he sees me, he's like, "Where are we now? What number are we now?" So it's going to be fun. I haven't had that conversation with him yet, but
maybe not knowing what we know. When you're like, oh, we only got 22nd, maybe that lights a fire.
Yeah.
You know?
I mean, that's hey, let's get those bridges in and let's get those 4 holes back and let's kick it up a notch and
Let's get some cement alligators.
Cement alligators. Let's do
That
it.
has
Lawn
that
ornaments.
come up ever? Like the idea of having some kind of piece of art. Like I think of 50 Acre has that big Groot tree trunk. Like has that ever been discussed about doing something like
I
that?
still want to push a giant pond in the middle of hole 8.
Oh, I think about it daily. Yeah.
Just dig a pond that takes about 325 to get over
Yeah.
from the shorts.
Right.
And like,
so that some people have to lay up and then throw.
oh
over.
yeah.
Yeah.
You know, and just put a little fountain in or put a concrete alligator in the
Yeah.
middle of it or whatever it takes.
I've also wanted to do like just a really nice, legit flagpole with a flag out there, like reading the wind and just kind of like a nice thing.
Dude.
And that would be cool too with like World War II days and the
I
things
was
that they do.
gonna- yeah.
So
a giant
that would be
American flag just flapping.
Yeah.
Oh, dude.
with just a little baby Delwood disc golf flag underneath it. Hey, we're here too.
It needs to be a cement JJ, doesn't it? That make the most sense. Holding the flagpole.
Maybe JJ on top
On
of the cement
hole 4.
alligator, like he's riding it.
Like holding the flagpole and then with his head turned and he's spitting out and that's the fountain. Spitting one direction and holding
On
the
a
flagpole.
concrete alligator with a saddle, like he's riding it.
It's that simple.
Yeah.
Riding.
Lockport.
All right.
Get your freaking poop in a group.
Right.
Yeah.
Let's get it together. But it's cool to see that number 1 is still in the States. That's regardless of where you're from.
Yeah.
That's,
true.
That's a cool thing. That's a united front there. So
I wonder what the distribution of uDisc users is across the world too, if that's the way it's skewed, because you know the United States has just far more users, or if the rankings are really in the United States' favor because they're better. But
Like trying to get Netflix to release their data on streaming.
Sure.
It's not going to happen.
no, it's never going to happen.
yeah, they put out stuff with these articles, but there's still a lot left that goes unanswered every year. But that's okay. I mean, we don't need to know all the details. It's just like Alex said, it's just cool that this is happening. And
Pay
that
no
uDisc
attention to the
is-
man behind the curtain.
Do you ever get to share this data with like Lockport visitors and convention bureau type people? Like I bring this up because Matt's was saying that with his experiment of using disc golf as a tourist draw, being able to show all the tourism department basically, look how many people played rounds of disc golf here during this time, and look how many of those people were not from here.
Right.
That's the evidence to like we should put more resources into this. It's working. Like, does Delwood have any of that going on with like the Lockport?
Well, as an employee of Delwood, I can say
Thanks for taking this one, Jason.
I went so far as to buy a map for them to put up here in the shop so people could place a pin of where they're from and have that on display here in the shop, but that hasn't happened yet. So,
That's a cool
it
idea.
would have been a nice
We're on a
visual
roll.
element to add to that. But No, that did not.
Well, it doesn't answer my question, but I think it's cool.
Well, I
It's a
think
cool
that,
idea.
exactly the information that uDisc collects is that virtual map with pins in it. And just recently, Sheila got us signed up to be a part of the Chamber of Commerce in Lockport.
That's what's up.
That's exciting. And we're going to be going to the mayor's State of the City in April. So we are getting to that stage now.
Dude.
As we have built the business, and we're going to be, kind of
There's no
letting
reason
people
why-
know that are in Lockport that maybe know, oh, yeah, I think there's a course over there. Like,
Yep.
this is what's actually happening.
You start to get some of these other business owners out here to understand what it could be. Like, you could have an event or two a year that bring a couple of thousand people extra
I
to
think
Lockport.
all of Lockport is really taking for granted what this park brings to Lockport, and especially the disc golf course, like the hotels and the restaurants.
Every
and
little
the-
gas station along the way. Up
Every
here.
little gas station, yeah.
Yeah, another thing that we've been working on with Lauren Lakeberg is we now have a Delwood Disc Golf brochure that we will, yes, there it is. Ryan's got it. That
Did you have
highlights
to
this
find
stuff
that sound effect and add it, or was that
Do you want
natural?
to again?
Yeah. Oh, very nice.
That's literally the brochure. like,
And on the back of it has information for all the local restaurants and breweries and eateries, which we work with Nick and Ivy all the time. They have sponsored events. They sponsored the GJTS TDTC last year, and we did the live draft there. They sponsored Fraction Run Cup last year. They're also sponsoring Fraction Run Cup for this year.
oh, wow.
So yeah, it's great. I mean, they see it because when we go in and we have conversations, it's always, oh, the disc golfers. Yeah. We know about the disc golfers.
We like them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Up until the last couple of years, it's like pulling teeth to get sponsorships from venues like this. And once you
Right.
go as far as you guys are going, I think that's going to start to turn around.
Right.
I think those hands are going to come from them reaching out to, to Delwood rather than us trying to get a couple gift certificates or get them to list something in the,
You guys have no idea how much free shit I get around town when all I have to do is pull out my driver's license and show my last name.
Wait, they don't recognize you by face?
Well, no, because I'm
You
on a
recognize him.
podcast.
Well, it's
By
the
beard.
beard has confused people.
Right, it is
If you
confusing a
trim
lot
the
of people,
beard,
right?
yeah.
Well, he's a Balchinian, so they're like, hey, what's up, Men in Black, right?
That's right.
The reason I wanted to ask about that is because every time I go to Ledgestone and I go to these hotels that are like full, like booked, solid, they've got to love the disc golfers because why else is anybody going to Morton, Illinois,
Right.
ever?
Yeah.
For that whole week
For
of
the Pumpkin
Ledgestone.
Fest.
I know you're making that up, but
They think they're the pumpkin capital of the world. You didn't know that?
is that real?
That's 100% real.
Oh shit! Your
My
smile is
roommate
really throwing
freshman
me
year
off.
at Eastern Illinois was from Morton. He claims
Sorry, Morton.
He claims
people. My fault.
that's the reason that Billy Corgan named the band Smashing Pumpkins is because he was dating a girl who was from Morton, and that was his little joke when they broke up. He honestly, hand to God, this is what he told me. I don't know if it's true.
Can you just tell us the story without smirking like you're making it all up?
There's no punchline. I'm sorry. I know.
How many beans did
I've
he eat?
built
Jason?
this for myself. I'm aware.
Yeah.
But I swear to God, his name is Mike. He was my roommate. I didn't pick him. We were just randomly put together. He was from Morton, Illinois. And that was his story, that he claimed his mom had an old VHS tape of them filming something in the town. Like that she had recorded them recording something.
A really
That's
unexpected.
That's
cool,
why Billy Corgan named the band Smashing Pumpkins was to make fun of Morton, Illinois, who claims to be the pumpkin capital of the world.
It's the inflections of the way that you talk that sound like
And you
you're
kinda
just
sound like I'm making it up.
going to go
And you start
because it was too far to
yeah, because
every
preferred.
single
you
time
kind of
you talk.
chuckle to yourself
Yeah.
a little bit, like you can't hold it in.
And
Googled pumpkin capital of the world, and it says Morton, Illinois.
Wow.
Truth.
Okay, so my apologies.
85% of the world's canned pumpkin is packaged in the nest.
Oh, canned pumpkin?
in Morton, Illinois. Huh.
So yes, my
Look at
apologies to
that.
people from Morton.
They have an annual pumpkin.
There's
a whole-
more there than disc golf. But
there's
the
a
point
whole-
is, all those hotels gotta love.
That's
the-
a busy 2 weeks there. Yeah.
Yeah, they gotta. I can't imagine what percentage of the revenue for the year, but like it makes up a very real portion of their business.
Sure.
every year.
Mm-hmm.
There's no reason why Delwood's not on the same track with Lockport.
Yeah.
You know, if you guys get that like week long type event, at
I
some
would
point,
love
which-
to have seen what Clash did last year.
Right.
Oh, numbers wise for local businesses, that
Sure.
kind of stuff.
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, now that you're,
Where
I
the
think
spike in their revenue happened, and if it timed in with it, yeah.
there, I imagine being in the Chamber of Commerce means they're gonna want to know that kind of stuff.
Sure.
So that's a very.
By the
cool
way, you're going to put
path.
the theme music for Parks and Rec behind all of this
Dun,
while
dun.
we're talking about it, right?
Oh, the whole time.
Also,
Still on
to be mentioned, top 10 disc golf cities in the USA. Number 2, Chicagoland. That's pretty cool. We'll definitely take that.
I think that also has to do with the sheer volume of people that are using uDisc.
There can't be many other places in the world that have 6. How many good? We have a legitimate 5 to 6 great courses out here. You could live in any little pocket of Chicagoland, and there's options for you.
Yeah. I think that is why it is so highly rated, is because of the distribution of courses and how pocketed it is wherever you. I mean, how many clubs do we have around here that are centralized around a certain course?
Right. That's why Chicago is such a freaking conundrum. There's so many people there. No courses, and everywhere just outside. Like, you get just outside the city, and it's abundant, and the demand is crazy.
Yep.
So I'm very excited for the day when we really break ground on a proper course. If you go on uDisc, there's like a temp course in Jackson Park where we had done our big event, but it's not a course. It's truly not.
That's funny because those are the only comments on that YouTube video, the Jomez video. We're like, well, I just looked up the course and it looks like it's not even in commissioning. Like,
it's not. It's
shut
like,
up.
We're in between. It's a work in progress, and like nothing there is permanent. And it's like, it's dope that progress is being made. I really think where this is going to end up is a Tiger Woods golf course with the Paul Macbeth disc golf course on it. I think that's how this is going to end up playing out. That's part
of the badass.
That's part of the thing that's like slowing down the progress right now is they have these multi-million-dollar, organizations that are buying the land, developing it. They're putting the Tiger Woods disc golf course right over there, with
Tiger Woods golf course.
Sorry, the Tiger Woods golf course, and the evidence for like the best way to combat the problem with putting a very exclusive golf course in an area like that is it's not accessible to the community. Like the actual people that live there, they're not going to be able to afford to go play at the Tiger Woods golf course, but they could afford to play the Paul Macbeth disc golf course that's right alongside it, or on a little portion of it. Yeah. And that makes such a cool destination for Chicago.
It absolutely does.
The number one golfer and the number one disc golfer in the world, that's their courses are both right here. Like that's where I really hope / believe it will end up.
I have visited some of the top golf courses in the country, and places like Pebble Beach. Like, I didn't play, obviously, but going out there and stepping on the 18th green and just, you're on the water, you see the building behind you, you see everything about it. Just being on those grounds makes you feel surreal. And so if you could play on a disc golf course that is on the grounds of a golf course like the Tiger Woods golf course
on the lakefront of Chicago,
right? I think that would.
I get the chills.
I'd be there. Yeah, I do.
Yeah.
I'd be there every damn day. Like it just sounds amazing.
It was one of the lines I kind of dropped when we first reached out to the Paul Macbeth Foundation. Was like, yo, the Tiger Woods Foundation is putting a golf course here. I don't have to spell it out for you guys. Tiger Woods golf course, Paul Macbeth disc golf course. Let's talk. And they got right back to us.
Sure.
Don't let what you read on uDisc about that Jackson Park thing. It's irrelevant. It's not going to be the way it is in like a few months from now. It's going to be different.
Right.
If you're doing it right, it's never the same thing all the time. You have to constantly be changing and growing everything you're doing.
Correct.
Anything and everything. Just recently, Dave Herman called me and said there's another park over in Crest Hill on the other side of the 9th Street Bridge, 15 minutes from Delwood, where they don't have much going on at the park. So he said, get over there and take a look at it and see what we can do over there. So that's fun.
Okay.
I hope you're ready to get a bunch of questions now.
From people. Of course.
Yeah.
That's all I do.
Are you going to get that course in before you get the 8s in the bridge?
Right. Yeah. So we'll go over there and check it out. We were looking at some like floodplain maps, and it definitely looks like there's some areas that are unusable, but it's a pretty big space. And even Dave said like, hey, it could be a 9-hole course with 2 tee pads, and you never know what each situation is going to be. And it's totally okay for them to be different. It doesn't have to be a 27-hole course that's number 22 in the world.
Right.
Just
beginner friendly stuff is good too.
Right, absolutely.
Yeah.
So, I mean, just like we did all the red tees out here the past fall, that was always part of the plan, and people are loving it.
There's also the fact that this course is so popular now that give some of the newer players another place to play, spread things out a little bit. It's probably good for everybody.
We need
Automatically
Trinity Links needs to open back up.
That's a thing too.
Badly.
Thank you.
Jason,
thank you.
when is that going to happen?
I'm on it. It's got a lot of shit going on right now. I'll get there, don't worry.
Okay, so before we get out of here, we do need to get into the little tiny baby mailbag. We didn't get a lot of questions this time around.
It's okay.
Not sure what's going on there, but don't matter. There's a couple things in there. Jason, take us into the mailbag. Mail time.
Mail time.
Mail time. Mail time.
That's
pretty good.
Where do we go from here? Let's start with Kyle Greenfield. He wants to know when Ryan Fanter is going to stop talking about getting the tattoo and actually do it. Hashtag the longest running bit. What's the tattoo?
Well, it started off as the Unstable Discourse tattoo, and we were going to do it live on
that's
air.
what I thought, right?
But then COVID hit. We can't have 10 people in a tattoo parlor while one. It just didn't logistically work out. I did, however, talk to him a few days ago, probably right before he sent that mailbag question.
Mm-hmm.
And he said he was going to get the Unstable Squirrel tattooed. And he asked for my permission.
Whoa.
Wow.
And
Okay.
that,
What if you change your logo in a couple of years?
I know, right? That brought a tear to my eye. And I said, Kyle, if you do it, I'm going to get it.
Where's
Because
he
I
gonna
can't,
get it?
I can't just have you get that.
Sure.
And he was like, it's my favorite logo in the world. And I was like, I got to tell you, it's kind of mine too, not just because it's mine, but because it turned out as well as it did. And I'll get it with you too. And he was like, yeah, whatever. And I was like, where's your tattoo parlor? And he's like, oh, it's over here on Route 30 by this and this. And I was like, I was just there. I got my last tattoo there. So when you sign up for that, tell him you're doing 2. And so I don't know when that's going to be, but we're doing it. He doesn't think I'm real, but it's real.
I reached out to Jackie T. Horn's sister, Crystal Thorns. She's a really talented artist, and
Yeah.
she's down to tat us up. But
Okay.
I also said, what about us recording a podcast while we do this?
Yeah.
And then I have not heard back about that.
Oh, of
So,
course. Well, we might have to talk to Jackie T. Horns
Yeah.
about that. But it's going to happen. Kyle, don't worry about it.
Nice.
So
Speaking of Jackie T. Horns, he's got our second question in the mailbag tonight. And there is no dicks or dinosaurs involved in this question whatsoever. Yeah, I know.
Right.
no
Nice.
dicks or dinosaurs.
He wants to know if we would rather get punched in the face by a prime Mike Tyson once a month for the rest of our life or have to talk like him for the rest of our life.
Oh my God.
As a podcaster, the talking like that might be hard.
If you got punched once it would take you
Brain
a
damage.
month to recover.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, you're
Was
talking.
there a caveat in there about how like you won't get brain damage or anything?
Nope.
You will get brain damage if you just.
Yeah, once
The
maybe
first,
you're not
we're
surviving
just
more than-
regular dudes.
we're talking
9
about
months.
fractured skulls once a month.
right.
Yeah.
Right.
No.
Rather talk like
Yeah,
him.
give me the lift.
Yeah.
I'd rather talk like him.
You can also make it work. Like if that was you had to talk like that, you could make it cool.
I mean, he did.
You know, in the
I
last.
did.
Yeah.
No, he did.
He did. Yeah.
Like Tyson did.
Well, he was
Yeah.
that big. Who's going to tell him otherwise?
yeah,
right.
Yeah.
I have heard on NPR and I heard on the Olympics, one of the announcers, they had pretty prominent speech disabilities of whatever, and they made it work. And I was like, damn, good for you. I mean, you're on the world stage and you can't say your S's and you're making this work. Good for you. So I would take that.
Yeah.
Sure.
I'm going to take that.
That's an easy one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't like getting punched. I've been punched very few times and I didn't enjoy any of them.
Really? Yeah.
None. Have you ever been in a fight?
I have.
Like
when I
a-
was a child.
Pause. Lauren is shaking her head in the background. Lauren, have you been in a fist fight?
Oh, was it like
Take a seat.
pulling hair,
Yeah,
rolling around,
yeah,
or was it?
yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Please.
Oh, yeah.
I don't remember what we were fighting about, but I remember throwing a Mountain Dew bottle across the yard and hitting my friend in her head.
Wow, scoped her.
And she had me on the ground and she was trying to rip my hair out of my head.
You don't
But I
remember-
don't even know what we were fighting about. Like, I don't even remember.
She was like, Mountain Dew's the best. And you're like, I'll show you it's the best.
I knocked her out.
Suck on this
We
bottle of Mountain
also,
Dew.
as a group, had a mud fight in front of the front yard of my friend's house. The neighbors took pictures. We never got to see
This
those.
girl's mud wrestling. What do you expect? So you've had multiple fights.
Yeah.
Wow.
I mean, it's
Little
the
bit.
person you'd expect, obviously, Lauren
Yeah.
Lakeberg. Yeah.
It's very aggressive.
Yeah.
So wait,
Yeah.
have you ever been like hit in the head?
I don't know. No.
Maybe she
Maybe
has.
you got hit so
and
hard
Yeah.
you don't remember.
doesn't remember.
Think
You
you
don't
have.
remember anymore.
I don't know. I mean, that might have happened in that fight where she was like ripping my hair out. Like that part I remember.
feel like you would remember when you get hit in the head. That's an experience. You'll remember that.
Yeah, no.
Jason, yes or no?
Let's hear it.
I want fight stories before we go. This is too interesting to me.
Stupid. My best friend was an instigator, and he would like, so and so said this, and then he would just start fights just to see what would happen.
Wow.
So I would get into fights with people all the time because my best friend would
90s,
just,
man. Early 90s.
Yeah.
Hell
would
yeah.
just
Fights
say,
for no reason.
Like,
we got to do this now.
He said
Clearly,
something.
I remember.
He said something about your mom.
Picking on the boy.
And then we would just
Seen
go
the
at
hummus.
it. Yeah.
Wow, that's
Little-
badass.
Start throwing haymakers and stuff. Yeah.
That's so deep.
I've never been punched in the face.
Have you ever punched anybody?
No, never in the face.
Have you ever wanted to?
Constantly.
Have you ever been close to like really cocking somebody?
No, I don't think so.
Damn.
Yeah.
Sean, I know you've hit somebody.
No, never have. I've never hit someone or been hit in the face.
Wow.
I'm a peaceful lion.
I've been punched and have punched multiple times. First one I remember was Drew Schneider in second grade.
Drew.
No, man.
He might listen to this.
No, man.
Drew. Probably grew up to be a decent guy, but playground fight that ended with me on top of him, like slamming his head on the sidewalk.
Oh, no.
Fifth grade, some kid on the bus who was bigger than my dad at the time, and my dad was a big guy. I was like showing my Pokemon cards, my binder to my friends, and the kid was like, let me see your Pokemon cards. And I was like, nah. And so he just took them out of my hands, but he was huge. And so I just kind of waited. And like when he was not paying attention, I stole him back. And I was like, now leave me alone, hoping he would leave me alone because I knew I was going to get killed. But he was like, you know what? When we get off the bus, I'm going to kick your ass. And I was like, let's see it, tough guy. I got a reputation to uphold. There's all these people
Yeah, you
around.
got to talk the talk.
We got off the bus. I threw my backpack down and I was like, what's up? I thought you were going to teach me a lesson. And he was calmly stood there and said, I'm just waiting for the bus to leave. And then the bus left and then he beat the shit out of me. I got up, just held my face and walked home crying. And he hit me so hard that like my bruise, half of my face was green. It was like a green bruise. It was weird.
Sure.
And my dad got home and saw it. And he's like, what the hell happened? And I was like, this kid took my cards and then I stole my cards back. And then he said he was going to kick my ass. So we got in a fight. And he went over to the kid's house, which is like embarrassing.
Oh, yeah.
I stayed home. I was like, I'm not coming with you to the kid's house.
No.
So he got back and he's like, that kid is bigger than me. Like, I'm sorry you had to go through that. That sucked. But he like talked to the kid's dad and I don't know, whatever else happened. It makes you feel alive though. I'll say that. And that's a wrap on this episode.
Yeah.
On that note.
Yeah.
On that note, thank you guys for listening. Stay tuned. More episodes coming. We'll drop more info about the live episode as soon as we have it. Mm-hmm. Thank you for being here. Peace.
See ya.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Unstable Discourse is a Top Secret Studios production.
What's the deal with buttholes?